up and crashing the floor. Two wild yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag-off at a Pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two dumb yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the bug with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two dumb yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two dumb yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. Oh, that was a beautiful break on that song. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 881 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. I want to say to everybody, welcome back, and welcome back. It's a big day. A lot of things going on, guys. Getting into the weekend. The biggest Steeler game of the year. No two ways about that. As the Steelers do host the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday night at 8:20 down on the North Shore for a chance to go to the playoffs. The playoffs officially start this weekend, guys. That's right. If you win, you move on. If you lose, you go home. Luckily for us, we get this first round at home, and then maybe next week we could play at home again. Good afternoon, everybody. Great to see you. Hope everybody had a great New Year's. I really do. I hope to see everybody back today. Hope everybody has safe, happy New Year. Good afternoon, everybody. Finch, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. I just noticed on camera here, I got the black hoodie on, so I got a little bit of the disembodied head going.
Yeah, you look like Uncle Fester. I love it.
It's not too well. I mean, I could take off the hat and really look like Uncle Fester. Give me a light bulb, the whole thing. But hey, man, happy to be here. Ready? We're going to talk about picks. This is going to be the most important game of the season.
Yes.
Hopefully, we can say that again this time next week. But I like our chances. Let's talk some football. I'm ready, dude. Let's do this.
Steelers are 4.5-point home dogs in this particular game. The Ravens will be here on at 8:20. This is gonna be the last football game of the year. Everybody's gonna be watching, guys. I hope the Steelers don't decide to come out. The team's been Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde all season long. I hope that doesn't continue. I think we're gonna be okay. Again, I go back and I watched the last Raven game. I like our chances. I really do. But there's going to be a lot of questions and a lot of things we're going to have to do right to win this football game. They're not going to roll over. Certainly, they hate us just as much as we hate them. They would love to send us packing as we would for them. So a lot of things going on today, guys. Let me jump on the board real quick here. Before we do get started, I want to say hi to everybody. I don't want to miss out on anybody today on this Steeler Friday. Good afternoon. Bingo says, good morning, guys. Cody, my man, all the way down in Texas. Great to see you, Cody. Tortilla out in Cali, man. Hey, no reason to be scared, baby. We're always here. Bingo, what's up? Baby. He says, just waiting on a fuel oil delivery today. Phil the Steel, what's up, bro? He says, what up, Dawn? What up, man? Teflon Dawn sucks. Also, Tyrone, my guy, is always great seeing the great Tyrone on a terrible board. Bingo says, good news. Lamar says he's playing. Not that it matters. Prepping for Lamar or Huntley is virtually the same. I agree with that. Tyrone says, Ryan Finch, my man. Cody, he says, Finch came in just in time to hear me roast Tyrone. Sounds good. Also, Tyrone says, why me, Cody? We shit the bed at nighttime. You're right. 1 and 3 this year in night games, unfortunately. And Lindsay, how you doing? Always great seeing Lindsay on the board, Tyrone. When we in the Berg, we built different. It's true. Gang, Finch. Always great to see everybody, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. I don't know if you guys kept up on social media this weekend, but I need to make a little adjustment to something that was going on. We had a plan today. Excuse me. And if you've seen on our social media, Levon Kirkland, that's right, Levon Kirkland, the former linebacker, all-pro linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers, was supposed to swing by today to talk to us about this game. However, it wasn't able to make that happen, so it's unfortunate. Everybody would have loved to seen Levon, but before you get discouraged, I do have to say a couple things. I'm going to make it up to you. How am I going to do that? David was going to have Levon Kirkland on. Excuse me, and he's not there. How can you ever make this up to me, Ryan? How? Look, and Tyrone's even making sad faces. Believe me, I feel you, brother. Well, listen, I'm never gonna leave Steeler Nation hanging. I'm never gonna leave Steeler Nation high and dry. I'm never gonna leave you Yinzers without. So I fixed it. I went and I fixed it for you guys. Today, I need everybody to give a nice welcome to the partner in crime in that inside linebacking core, guys. Let's welcome everybody today to the show. Chad Brown. Chad Brown, the great former Pittsburgh Steeler linebacker. Chad, great to see you, sir. Thank you for coming by in such a short notice. You were a
Brown.
savior. We super excited to have you on, bud.
Well, what brothers do. Levon and I are brothers. So if one of us can't make it, another one should show up. I'm happy to be here with you. And I'm not sure if the last time I was on the show, you had that intro music, but the lyrics to that song are awesome.
Oh, we appreciate that, man.
Big thumbs up from me over here, man. Good job.
Thank you, Chad. I greatly appreciate it. And you know what? I was just telling you before we came on the air, Chad, we had on almost to the day last year. It was the day before New Year's. Today, it's the day after New Year's. So, guys, there he is, everybody. Chad Brown. And you know what? The plan was even bigger. I'm going to be honest with you. Let me paint it out for you before we really get into this. We're coming up on 30 years on Super Bowl 30, which in my life was the game that it defined everything that I knew and loved about the Steelers. I was a senior in high school, Chad. And, I was living off of this, hearing all the Super 70s, Steeler greats, Steel Curtain, and I never seen them, though, because I was still, shitting myself. I was in diapers when they were playing. Mm-hmm. You guys, 1995, January 28th, 1996 in Tempe, Arizona, was the game that I waited for my whole entire life to that point. I rooted, I cheered everything every week for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But this team that started 3-4 in 1995, came back and became the 60-minute men, was the name that was coined for this particular team. And this team came back from a 3-4 record to finish 11-5, win the division, and go all the way to the Super Bowl. And that was my first experience for the Super Bowl. So Chad and Levon and that whole team, Yancey and Ernie and the whole way down, is meant a lot to me. And still to this day, being 47 years old and being a Steeler fan like I am, I could always go back to that particular season as one of my most important seasons of my life, to where that was my first experience. It was Chad was huge. You guys were huge. 94, 99 in the middle on defense was something that we never seen. Then you had 95 and Kevin over on the other side. Super defense. If I had it on videotape, I would probably watch it over and over and over. Chad, again, welcome to the show, sir. What's your thoughts? 30 years gone by. What is your thoughts when you sit back and think about that particular, not just the game? Let's go with the Super Bowl 30 against the Dallas Cowboys. Where does your mind go when you think about that game?
Gosh, my mind goes to, in the end, I suppose, disappointment, just because we couldn't find a way to get it done. But that was an amazing football team. And so to be let down by a couple of critical mistakes at the wrong moment of the game, Uh, in the end, does it diminish what we were able to accomplish? Yeah, because the standard in Pittsburgh is winning Super Bowls. And so I rightfully thought that we were going to find a way to win that football game and to come out on top. When we won the AFC Championship game, I knew we would be adding a Lombardi trophy to back in the old Three River Stadium, that little small display of trophies they had back then. My trophy, our trophy, would be there joining all those others. It was a great group of guys. In fact, you just mentioned some guys, Yancey and Ernie. I just was at a Steeler event in Chicago where the Steelers played the Bears and signed autographs there with those guys. Darren Perry was there as well. So that was a great, fun weekend. So these guys, I've got a lifelong brotherhood with, more than just Levon and Greg and, Kevin, rest in peace, but the entire football team. We were a great, close group. And you aren't the only one who, for a football fandom, that particular era of Steeler football, that particular brand of Steeler football was the foundational piece that the rest of their football life has kind of been built upon. Aggressive, hard-nosed defensive football, getting after quarterbacks. You would not be surprised how many people, as I go around the country, will recognize me. And they don't, talk about the 8 years I spent in Seattle or the couple of years I had in New England at the end. They all talk about those days in Pittsburgh, and particularly that Blitzburg defense that we were on.
Absolutely. And Chad, you mentioned I literally listen as you were talking. I thought, I have a question, and as you kept talking, I became more of a fan again, and I keep falling into fandom because I'm talking to 94, and I'm
getting goosebumps.
I'm getting goosebumps. I can make that high screech girl sound if I had to right now.
That's why I muted my mic. Yeah,
but I, Chad, to go what you're saying here. The thing is, Steeler fans are far and wide, and we know this. In the Generation X, people that are my age, people that are Finch's age, you guys were it, because the people before us had their Super Bowls. The people after us had their Super Bowls. This 95-96 team, it was the pinnacle, Chad. And as you said, you have certainly had an opportunity to win this game. It was only 13-7 at halftime, which I thought was pretty amazing, especially this team coming from Dallas that had all these big names. And we come out and get that onside kick in the second half. I thought, you know what, guys, we're gonna win this football game. How can you not believe that we have a chance against, again, all week you're hearing Troy Aikman, you're hearing Emmitt Smith, you're hearing Michael Irvin. Bull, we were down 13-7. We get the ball back. We're winning this thing, Chad. There wasn't a person in Generation X that loves the Steelers that didn't think that we were going to win that game. And how unfortunate the way that it played out, by nobody's fault besides maybe one person, but we'll leave him out of the conversation for now. But yeah, go ahead, continue on.
Well, I was just going to say, coming up here in a couple of weeks, in those 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl, the NFL Network always replays the older Super Bowls. And at some point, as I'm clicking around the channels, I'll catch our Super Bowl on, and I can't help but sit down. But here's the crazy part. I still expect us to find a way to win.
Me too.
I still am somehow hoping that the outcome is going to be different. And that clip of Coach Cowher kissing his daughter off the field, saying you lose some, you win some, kind of thing.
Yes.
It's still difficult to digest that. Having won 32 games in a row in high school, back-to-back championships in Southern California, having gone to University of Colorado and bringing the first national championship to that institution. Why would the NFL be any different? Why would you not want to win a championship? So yeah, it's definitely a crushing acceptance of reality that happens every year in that lead up to the Super Bowls.
Absolutely. And, again, it'll be something that I never forget, Chad. Here we are 30 years later, and I can still around the details of that season off. Like, it's not Rod Woodson blowing his knee first game of the season in a 23-20 win over to Detroit. The whole season, I could take you the whole way through it, I promise you, and give you the detail. And it still means that much to me today. Even, we did win a couple Lombardis since then. But you guys, and as I said, guys and gals from the Generation X that loved, were Steeler fans, will never never forget Mr. Chad Brown with the snakes and the picture that was hanging up in the in the crowd with the snakes around you and the whole 9 yards. You guys will always be such a big part of Steeler Nation. And again, always great to have you by, Chad. I'm going to turn directions here a little bit and talk to you about a couple things because this is a big weekend. This is a big weekend for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, the Steelers will be hosting the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday evening here on the North Shore for their chance to go into the playoffs. A couple of things I want to get into about in this conversation, Chad, is it's no secret. They're going to run the football. They got King Henry. This guy's a monster. Now, who better to ask how to stop this monster in a big game like this than one of the great linebackers of our black and gold? Chad, how would you go about stopping King Henry and winning this football game this weekend if you were playing for Pittsburgh?
Of course, it's easier said than done. I mean,
Right.
Guy who at every level of the game has just been incredible. I still think his high school record of 12,000 yards in high school still stands, which is just remarkable. If you're going to stop Derrick Henry, you got to stop him in the backfield. Once that big body gets moving, and he may be the fastest, massive man that's ever played the game, to be able to maintain that top speed at 250 pounds plus is just remarkable what he's able to do there. So you got to get to him in the backfield. He's not the shiftiest of guys. He's not a big time make you miss guy in the backfield. He's got to get some speed and momentum going to himself. So get some penetration into the backfield. If you're Cam Hayward, knock that guard or knock that center back. So he's got to restart his feet in the backfield. Obviously, these teams have gotten together so many times, not just with Derrick Henry, but the Tomlin Harbaugh rivalry. I think this is their 40th game going against each other. Yeah. It's amazing how well these guys probably know each other and how well these teams know each other. But if you're going to slow Derrick Henry down, you got to start it in the backfield. That's where it starts. So some type of penetrating defense, some type of defense that forces him to stop and restart his feet, that forces him to change direction in the backfield is going to be what's needed. If he is able to slash through an open lane, all he needs to do is make that one linebacker, that one safety miss, and he can outrun your entire defense. So you can't do it on the second level. You really can't even do it on the first level. You got to do it in the backfield. It's going to be the best way to slow this guy down.
He's a scary man. I mean, the fact of the matter is this, Chad, we beat this team. And I don't know how, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a Steeler fan, and I'm always about beating the Ravens. But we literally beat this team 9 of the last 11 times we played them. Kind of an amazing number, to be honest. So, we figured these guys out. My question is this, though. How much more difficult is it going to be to stop Henry with Lamar back there? But before they had Henry and they had these other running backs, and I can't even remember the names off the top of my head, but they were running all different kind of RPOs and options and things like this. And it was a hard thing to keep up with because Lamar was so quick. And so, he was just so Lamar. Well, now he's older and now he's not quite as healthy. Does the Lamar factor play into how how difficult it comes to defending against Derrick Henry? Because now again, it's just the dynamic, of that team changed entirely because he's not the young, fresh-legged Lamar Jackson that everybody feared 10 years ago or however long ago. He's a shell of his former self, in my opinion. How much does his presence, because they did announce he will be playing Sunday night. He had, of course, the back injury. How big of a difference is it in there when Lamar is in there against when he's not in there, Chad?
Well, for Lamar, he's got hamstring, knee, ankle, toe, and now the back, his latest injury this season. So I still think Lamar, when healthy, can be one of the most dynamic athletes in the league. But defending those two guys, it's made a lot easier because Lamar is not healthy, and he's going to be less apt to run than he was in the past. But the plan is when Baltimore signed Derrick Henry was, we're going to put people in difficult spots from a coordinator standpoint. If you're a defensive coordinator, you want big bodies on the field to deal with Derrick Henry, but you want smaller bodies on the field to deal with Lamar Jackson. And we're going to force people to choose. No matter which way they choose, we're going to force them to choose wrong. Now, this year, because of the injuries to Lamar, because Lamar is like 26th, I think, in passing yards, this combination of guys is far less threatening than it has been in the past. And if you're TJ Watt, if he's going to be up this game, and Derrick Henry runs the other way, in the past, you couldn't try to chase Derrick Henry down from behind because you could miss Lamar on some kind of bootleg or some kind of planned quarterback run. I don't think that's going to be as big of a factor in this game. So that begins to limit what the Ravens can do offensively. And now you can really begin to shift your focus to stopping Derrick Henry. Do you have to still respect Lamar's ability to take off on a bootleg? Yeah, you still do.
Absolutely.
I just don't think it's going to be a featured part of the game plan for a guy who says he feels great, but clearly was affected by that back injury, and people began to question his toughness. I don't think him running the football is going to be what Coach Harbaugh is going to draw up for 4 quarters of this football game. Nut cutting time into the second half, into the first half, into the second half. Yeah, you got to respect Lamar running, but just sprinkled in regularly throughout the game, I don't think that's going to be a feature.
You know what? And I tend to agree with you. I really do, because the last time we seen them 4 weeks ago, we did beat them 28-23, and it was a little bit worse than how that sounds. They came back at the end, of course, the play with Isaiah likely getting the ball knocked out of his hand before making that football move in the end zone was the difference in that football game ultimately. But at the end of the day, I agree with you. And I said this on the show earlier in the weekend. People thought I was crazy, but I said I kind of would rather have Lamar in this game than Snoop Huntley. And again, it does sound crazy. Why would you want to face a former 2-time MVP? But this is exactly what it is, Chad. I just think that he is not that same player. I think that his back and his knee and his ankle and everything else that you said is a liability. And I think those things kind of go against, they go in our favor. I would rather see Lamar. He's going to second guess before he maybe, as you said, takes a shot to run down the field, something like this, because he's just not the same player. So if you could make it into a one-dimensional game, focus on getting Henry stopped, knowing Lamar doesn't have what he used to have, not turning your back saying we can't pay attention, because again, he will beat you if you let him. But I kind of favor this, because didn't the Baltimore Ravens, they go up to Green Bay with Snoop Huntley, they get that win when they needed it last week. I'm kind of welcoming Lamar back, to be honest. I'm not convinced he's healthy. I'm not convinced he's 100%. Whatever they're saying over there, Baltimore, I'm not convinced. I like our chances. Again, we won 9 of our last 11 against these guys. I'm not afraid of Baltimore. I just think that, stopping Derrick Henry is super key this weekend. And if we don't do that, we're not going to be able to win this football game. Now, with that being said, let me ask you this. We have this defense, Chad, and I'm sure you follow just like everybody else. We went out and we made mad moves this offseason. We brought in Jalen Ramsey. We brought in this guy. We brought in that guy. And there was a lot of anticipation about this defense this year. Now, you being a defensive guy, seeing the way that it turned out to the way compared to what they expected, where did this thing go wrong for the Steelers this year? I mean, they were saying this could be one of the better defenses ever. And again, you kind of see the way things are playing out, 27th in the league at this point. How did it get from this to this? What happened and what needs to happen so that doesn't happen in the future?
I've never been on a team that talent superseded playing together. And so when you go out and get all these guys in free agency and you try to build a team by acquisition rather than homegrown, I just think you get the results that everyone's not going to be on the same page. You're getting people coming in with different motivations who aren't necessarily part of the culture, who haven't been there before. So there's that aspect. I think the thought that you can just buy a team.
Right.
We've seen it in college football. We've seen it in the NFL.
NBA.
In the NBA.
Right.
So this is not typically the Steeler formula.
Right.
We are far more of a homegrown, raise guys up kind of thing. And so I think that's a factor in this. And then I think age is just a factor in this. Well, there was a time where if you made it to year 9 or 10 as a Pittsburgh Steeler, you had to know that you weren't going to be there much longer after that.
Right.
And they focused, particularly in that Bill Cowher era early on keeping the team, particularly defense, young. To have these active, healthy guys flying around. And so there's a bit of age on this team as well. And, do you push Cam Hayward out the door if he can still play? I don't think you do.
Right.
Do you push TJ Watt out the door if he can still play? I don't think you do.
Right.
But Bill Parcells said, once you start making exceptions on your football team, you suddenly got a team full of exceptions. And so there's a reason why you adopted that philosophy long ago, because you thought that was going to give you best chances for success. and then you began to make exceptions. And now you have yourself a whole team full of exceptions. And,
Yeah.
and while we're talking about guys who are all-time Steeler greats, at some point, do you have the standard and do you want to adhere to it, or do you not? And so I think it's a couple of different things showing up there. Some of the coordination has been a little curious. Some of the play up front has been a little interesting. Some of the age of guys from a Steeler standpoint has been interesting. So it's been a combination of a number of things that have resulted in this highly paid defense being highly disappointing and highly underperforming.
Absolutely. You know, that's a topic here in town all the time is, we're paying TJ all this money. And if last year down, for example, coming down the stretch, we lose last five games in a row. TJ's putting up zeros, across the board in those particular games. So the fans naturally say, the last 5 games, the stretch, you lose 4 and then you lose in the playoffs. And TJ's not putting up numbers and not getting the results. And, so people are saying right now that, that's a lot of money, of course, tied up in one guy. He's not getting the results. Why won't you take this money and put it here, 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 and here so you could bring in talent at other positions? So, I mean, that's a catch-22 with people like TJ and Cam, because, you're going to get top results from these guys, especially Cam Hayward. I got to be honest with you. I gave up on Cam a couple of years ago, and he's really shown himself. Finch and Chad, I watched Cam specifically last week. He was everywhere. The guy at his age and his size was everywhere. I got to be honest with you. I'm no longer TJ right now. I hope that he becomes healthy enough to play. I mean, obviously that's one thing. And if he does, I hope that he can make a big something big happen, Chad, because one thing that we're missing right now with these Steelers is one of them punch outs in the fourth quarter or a sack that there's a fumble or something that TJ does well. We're starving for right now in Pittsburgh. And you know what? There's nothing better than the Ravens this Sunday night. If TJ is able to play, can make that play for us and help us get the win. And so everybody could just shut up, because it's, everybody's at each other right now. Of course, the Steelers, you know how it is. You know how the Steelers fan base is, and things aren't exactly going great this year. So you could just imagine what's going on here in town. But that's the way it looks right now, Chad. What's a prediction? I'm not going to really pin you on this one, but who do you think wins this game on Sunday night?
Well, I've seen the Ravens play in person. I was on the call for the Ravens-Browns game a couple of weeks back where Shedeur Sanders got his first playing time. And they were a bit disappointing. The Ravens defense had begun to play better. They brought Hamilton down into the box for the couple of games before that. So the defense was playing better because their defense has been underperforming all year long.
Absolutely.
As well. So they're not alone in the AFC North there questioning about their defensive play. And then offensively, there's just a disjointedness to things. And Lamar Jackson seems, the word I kept using during the broadcast is he seemed very casual.
Yes.
There's not this burst and intensity. And even in the pocket, some of the things from a ball security standpoint, he was kind of casual with the football in that game. And it's like, dude, Myles Garrett's got 4 sacks in this game. You might want to have some ball security, because this dude's coming to hunt you down, Lamar. So there was just a disconnect that was a bit odd for an organization, a coach, heck, a quarterback who have performed so well over the years. So they are a bit out of character,
right?
Just as the Steelers this year are a bit out of character. So I guess to go into this week's game, which team can play closest to their standard? Because I think it's probably the question in the end, because there's been some games where both teams have played to their standards this year, and there's been far too many games where they haven't.
Right.
I'm going to put it on the Steelers and Mike Tomlin and the fact that they've got Aaron Rodgers, and we just mentioned guys like Cam Hayward, and we don't need 5 sacks from TJ Watt. We just need that one game-changing play, which he seemed to specialize in over the last 4 or 5 years, where he literally turned games by himself.
Right.
We just need one of those.
Just one.
If we can get, a couple of those things on the positive side for the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers clean and smart with the football, Cam Hayward looking like Cam Hayward of 5 years ago, or heck, just be who you were last week and do that all. And TJ Watt makes that 1 or 2 splash plays. That can be enough in what I expect to be a close game for the Steelers to get the win. If I were a betting man, which I'm not, I would put my money on the Steelers more so than just my Steeler black and gold glasses that I view life through.
Right.
But I think those things I just talked about are far more of a possibility, a higher percentage possibility than Lamar Jackson suddenly overcoming all these injuries and suddenly becoming a better quarterback than he's been all year. He's only averaging 28 yards a game rushing, the lowest of his entire career.
It's really something. It truly is. And I'm going to go back and I'm just going to start with this comment. I particularly remember the Browns game that you're talking about. And if it wasn't for Miles catching TJ, that would have been a lot more exciting of a game with all those sacks, as you said, against Lamar and company in that particular game. But that was a good one to watch. It was fun. Cleveland ended Lamar was putting the ball on the ground all game. I couldn't be happier. All the Ravens were. It wasn't just Lamar, but that particular game was certainly fun. You know what, guys on the board, throw any questions for Chad. Any questions for Chad? Do throw them up on the board. We are getting to that point of the show. Throw any questions for Chad. I will ask him anything that you throw up there. So do that as well. Finch, what about you, my man? Any questions for Chad?
Yeah, just let me say, great analysis, guys. That was a good conversation. I was enjoying it very much. I kind of had a question. It was a little bit off of the beaten path here a little bit because we are coming up on the playoff time of the year. And I was, as Ryan mentioned earlier, we were at that age where watching football was really exciting for us. I was like 12 when you guys went to that Super Bowl. And I was really into the hype cycle of the Super Bowl. I was into the media thing. I remember seeing like Kevin Green show up on the Tonight Show for like a split second.
Wasn't he with Hulk Hogan or something?
He was like standing on a mic cable.
Yeah.
And that was like the whole thing and he was like, he turns around, he's like eating a powdered donut or something silly like that. What was that experience like? Those couple of weeks after you guys beat the Colts in one of the most insane NFL finishes that I ever seen. You guys beat the Colts. The hype train is going crazy. The Cowboys they're amazing. Everybody, knows how good they are. What was it like getting all these questions and then, the whole media day thing? What does that do to you? And does it take you off your game at all? Or maybe put you onto your game even better?
I thought it put us on our game because the conversation was essentially that we didn't belong there. We were a great story, but this was the Cowboys and this was the triplets. It was Aikman and Irvin and Smith and all those things that they had over there in Dallas. We're like, whoa. We are a legitimate football team. We are the better defense. We are the better linebacker crew. We actually have more of a Super Bowl winning tradition than you guys. You guys may have the hype train, but really the tradition is over here on this sideline. So all the conversations, all the media attention that week really, I thought, just galvanized us as a football team as to, the disrespect that we felt like we were being shown. Now, of course, any underdog is going in the Super Bowl is always going to play the disrespect card, but I think we internalized that a bit. So it was great to push back against the media narrative and to leave media day thinking, okay, yes, they all doubt us, but we get a chance to say what we wanted to say. Now, next, we'll get a chance to go on the field and back that up. Emmitt Smith, I think he had 45 yards or so, maybe 35 yards in the first quarter. He ended the game with about 60. We shut him down. Their biggest pass play was a deep pass to Deion Sanders in the first quarter, I believe, against Willie Williams. Maybe a 35-yard, 40-yard pass. Other than that, we shut that offense down. Yeah. So on the defensive side of the ball, we were able to internalize the disrespect and then, like I said, put it into action, and it showed up statistically on the field during that game.
I got to be honest with you. I'm just listening to all this stuff and just, seeing your perspective and what you remember. And it just makes it that much more for myself. I got to be honest with you, Chad. Let me get some of these questions on the board. Somebody asked this. Somebody asked, is there any interest from Mr. Brown to taking over the defensive coordinator position here in Pittsburgh? This is from Bingo Winchester. Asks, any interest in the defensive coordinator position, Chad?
I think I'm a bit a ways away from that. I've done four internships.
Okay.
Coaching internships, and the amount of respect I have for someone who set the standard, like a Dick LeBeau. I think suddenly I'm just because I, heard Dick LeBeau do it on the sideline that I can do that. Yeah, that's a bit too far. I understand folks are disappointed with the coordination. I'm just not sure if today or even next year I'd be ready to be that guy. I'd want to spend some more time learning from Dick LeBeau, which I did when he was in Tennessee and I did a coaching internship out there. The defensive mind that guy has, the understanding of how to manipulate the chess pieces was just off the charts. Yeah. So again, respect for Coach Tomlin and respect for the play callers out there in Pittsburgh, but obviously Dick LeBeau sets the standards for what we think of when we think of excellent Steeler defense play calling.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this question. This is from, I had it right here, and I will have it again, I promise you. This question is from Vegas. Vegas asks this: what are the biggest differences between the Steelers and Seahawks organizations and fans?
Ooh, wow. Gosh. So the Steelers, I think I've obviously grown quite a bit since I was there, and I, had some opportunity to see some of their newer operations and how much they've grown. But when I left the Steelers, Mr. Rooney was still signing the players' paychecks.
Okay.
So it was very much a mom and pop feeling organization. And so when I first got to the Seahawks, they gave me a tour during my free agent visit, and they took me upstairs and they showed me this massive, facility, and there was all these bullpens and desks and all that. And I was like, what do all these people do? And they said, well, this is the marketing department and this is that. I was like, well, you don't need a marketing department. I don't think the Steelers have one. We just win football games. That's how we market ourselves. That's the best way to market your football team, is just to win football games. So I think it has taken some time for the Seahawks to kind of become with that same level of thinking. Another quick story. My first year in Seattle, the wives are waiting for the players after a game. And the wives are discussing, well, where's everyone going to go to dinner? And someone asked my wife, Kristen, well, where are we going to go? And she says, well, Chad's not going to want to go out. We just lost. And one of the wives says, well, you got to get used to that. We lose here all the time. And so having her introduction to the NFL as a Pittsburgh Steelers wife, that just was not acceptable from a wife's perspective. How could you just accept losing? How could you have that mindset? How could you have that attitude about football? And so now that organization expects to win.
Absolutely.
They believe in themselves. Obviously, they've put together a remarkable season. They did some remarkable seasons when Pete Carroll was the coach. So that organization took some time, took folks like myself and other people in the locker room, other people in the front office, to kind of pull them into accepting of losing, into no, the standard is the standard. We're supposed to go out there and kick butt and win football games.
Right.
And so that's where they are now. And both organizations have become incredibly well-run organizations. I was just out there in Seattle for a couple of different events. I raised the 12th man flag for that Thursday night game, the Rams. That was off the charts. That was so much fun. And they do a great job with that. But I was also a part of the top 50 Seahawks players ever.
Awesome.
And they put together an amazing event. And it felt like something the Steelers would do. It was very family. It was very connected. It was we're all in this together.
Right.
You're a great Seahawk, therefore you'll always be a Seahawk kind of thing. And that was something I really enjoyed in my time in Pittsburgh, was that family environment. And if you were a great player of the past, you were just as welcome as today's players.
Absolutely. And a couple of things to add what you're saying here. You put it in a perspective the way that I think people will understand now, because you think of the Seahawks prior to you going. Besides for Steve Largett and maybe a couple other guys, there wasn't that really wasn't a great team, and it wasn't a great franchise. They went over to the NFC, became a whole different entity, especially after guys like yourself and came and went, and were a big part of the change of that culture. I totally agree, and to hear you say it, it really rings true. Finch, Seattle Seahawks. Any questions for Chad on this real quick before we do get ready to wrap things up?
No, you guys nailed it. That was very interesting stuff there. I love it.
Let me add one more to that.
Absolutely.
They also brought in Willie Williams with me from Pittsburgh
Yes.
into Seattle. So,
And he was on that. Yeah, right. Number 27, Willie. That was, and over the years, did LeVon eventually go to Seattle as well?
LeVon played his second to last year with me in Seattle before he
That's
ended his
right.
career in Philadelphia.
That's
So
what it was.
they kept bringing guys from that era of of Steeler football because obviously we were invested, we were physical, we were tough-minded. The standard was the standard. We were going to find ways to win. So if you want to bring a new culture to your organization, you got to bring folks whose culture you admire into your organization. So that was clearly moves with, again, Willie, myself, and LeVon trying to bring that in Seattle.
Right.
It took some time, but now that is firmly being established out there. And so, Steeler culture exists in other places because we were able to carry that mindset to those other places.
Two more quick questions, just because I see two bangers on here. Chad, great question. The 12th man or the terrible towel? The 12th man or the terrible towel? Now we're putting some pressure on you. It's a new year. Got to get on you, Chad. The 12th man or the terrible towel?
Emotionally, it's always going to be the terrible towel.
Right.
A playoff atmosphere or a Monday night game against a big opponent, to see those terrible towels waving, that's about as emotionally charging of a thing as possible. Now in Seattle, Paul Allen, being a tech guy, he hired an acoustic architect to consult in the design of that stadium build out there.
I remember hearing that.
To direct the fan noise onto the field. There is no louder place in the NFL or in all of football than being on the field. I guess it's Lumen Field now, but it used to be Seahawks Stadium, but it's Lumen Field now. That is the loudest place in all of football. It is impossible to communicate. You have to use hand signals because you can't hear anyone in a conversational tone. So the 12th man is incredibly loud. Now they are benefited by this acoustic architecture, but they have an impact every game. Every single home game for Seattle, the 12th man have an impact on the opponents with false starts and offsides and procedural penalties because people can't communicate. It's definitely a massive home field advantage for the Seahawks.
And just like anything that you do, I mean, football players like anybody else, through reps, you get good at what you do because you practice. I mean, you played football your whole entire life, and now it gets upended by now I have to deal with something different. There's a monkey wrench here. I have to figure out how to not only do what I do at the highest possible level, I have to now deal with this crowd noise that I can't hear the guy next to me, which makes my job 100 times more difficult. So I can certainly see how that is a huge advantage. And, we've seen that over the past in Seattle. Last question for you right here. This one is also from Vegas. This one is one of my favorites, but only somebody like yourself can answer this question. Vegas says this. He says, did the wide receivers run the wrong routes or did Neal throw poor passes? This is something that's still debated till this day in Pittsburgh, Chad.
From my understanding,
okay,
and I have not talked to Neal about this, but I've spoken to the receivers about this. It's 1-1. One was a bad Neal throw, and one was Neal was expecting the receiver to be running a certain route, and the receiver did not run that route. So I think it's fair to put blame on both sides of the equation there.
Right.
But yeah, it's still a pain. It's still a painful conversation. It's still a painful memory. Again, I expected, because of past championship experiences, that I would have a Super Bowl championship and I'd be having a fancy giant ring on my hand right now. And unfortunately, I don't.
And the thing is, I mean, as you said, you won a lot of games in high school. You won a lot. You won the national championship with Colorado, 10-9, I believe was the final on that count.
Yes.
The Steelers, the Seahawks. There's no way I would have ever guessed that you would have not had a ring at the end of your career. I couldn't agree with you more, Chad. So eventually, ultimately, it comes down to this: 26 days from right now is going to be 30 years since Jin's guys were out in Tempe and it's played that big game out in the desert. And it's again big for guys like Finch, myself, Mike, everybody on the staff, most of the people on the terrible board, and a lot of people that watch the show. A lot of us Generation Xers will never, ever forget that game, Chad. And I just want to tell you that, brother, you always be a legend here in Pittsburgh, and the Snakes and everything else. 94, just making the big plays and the sacks and the tackles and everything else that you did. You were such a big part of that generation of Steelers and Steeler fans, my friend. And we thank you so much for all that and so much more. Finch, please, anything before Chad takes off, man. It's great to have you, sir. Finch.
Hey, I just want to say, Chad, thank you for joining us. It's an absolute honor and a pleasure to talk to you. Number 94 was the first Steeler jersey I ever owned, and I was wearing it on that day when you guys were playing in Tempe. So thank you for joining us. This was awesome conversation. I'm sorry I missed it last year when you were here. I was very upset because I couldn't be on the show that
Yes,
day.
he was.
Yeah, I didn't know you were coming on today until 5 minutes before you showed up. So I'm a little beside myself. This is awesome. So thank you for joining us. This was so cool. Good luck to you with all of your success.
Thank you. So yes, to Finch, to Ryan, to Mike, thanks for having me on. I'm happy to jump in and substitute for my guy Levon. And I'm actually here in Scottsdale, Arizona. So I am
Nice.
about 15 minutes away from that stadium.
Wow.
And I drive past it occasionally. And it doesn't make me happy. Even almost 30 years later, the wound is still there. But I've got some guys like yourself to share some of that pain with a bit. So
Yeah.
thanks for the trip down memory lane, even though it's not the most pleasant, because there's still some amazing memories from that football team and what we were able to accomplish as a team and how we kept the Steelers organization moving forward. In some ways, even though we didn't win the championship, lived up to the standard, at least from a defensive perspective, of what it was to be a Steeler and how Steeler defenses are supposed to play.
I agree with everything that you just said. I mean, that really everything that you said, Chad, was dynamite today, sir. We thank you so much for your time, for your participation, for coming and hanging out. I would have loved to have both you and Levon here. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But having you, Chad, again, fantastic. We thank you so much. The doors are always open to you. I hope that you have a safe new year, and I hope you enjoy some football this week. And maybe the black and gold could bring us that victory so we can continue to watch our team and continue to play in January. Chad Brown.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. See you guys.
Thanks, Chad.
Thank you so much, my friend. Happy New Year, sir. And we'll see you next time. We'll talk to you next time, sir.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Chad Brown, everybody. All right, guys, let's get back into it. It's time. I want to say the terrible board. Thank you. You guys were super awesome. I was keeping an eye on the messages. I wanted to make sure I get some questions over to you from you guys, and you guys really kicked ass today. A lot of stuff to get into, guys. This is Steeler Friday. It's Ravens week. This is for all the marbles. It doesn't get any bigger than this, guys. That's right. The Pittsburgh Steelers host the Ravens on Sunday night, 8:20. The Steelers are 4.5-point home dogs in this particular game. Week 18. This is week 18. It's for all the marbles. It's the playoffs, basically. You continue to win. You continue to move on. You lose. You continue to if you lose, you go home. So, again, you're going to the couch if you lose. Huge game this weekend, guys. We have a lot of things to get into today. We have some overs and unders. We have predictions, keys to winning. Also, guys, the trivia of the day. A lot of stuff to still go on today. Super, super, super huge thanks to Chad Brown. Again, my initial plan. Let me fill you in, guys.
My heart is beating so fast, by the way.
And it should
that was such a surprise to me. And I'm starstruck. It was amazing. That was so cool.
And you know what, Finch, it really was. And he's always been here for us. And when we ask him, and Chad certainly, he truly is the man. And
great representation of what the Steelers are and should be.
And you know what? For the past 30 years, again, that was the Super Bowl. It went prior. It went before that. Chad Brown was such a big part of my teenage years, certainly being a Gen Xer, Steeler fan in that particular time, guys.
My most formative time for
Absolutely.
anything fandom at that age. And the Steelers were my top of the top, and he was near the top for me. So it was so cool.
So very awesome, man. We thank you so much, Chad. I hope everything goes well for you, sir. But that was the plan. Levon was supposed to come on. Something came up. I was going to have Chad surprise him, Finch, is what I was going to do because they played right
Yeah.
next to one another. The anniversary coming. So Levon was supposed to come on first, and then I was going to surprise. I didn't tell Levon that Chad was coming, but we'll get Levon on eventually. I promise you. Chad was able to step up and keep it going for us on this big show today, guys. Don't anybody go anywhere. A lot of things going on between the Steelers, for the Steelers this weekend, in this big first round of the playoffs. In my opinion, is the way that this is playing out. First round of the playoffs, Sunday night, we win, we move on. We lose, we go home. Finch, I do know that you have to take off, so I'm gonna trade you out. I'm gonna like a football card. I'm gonna take you and I'm gonna trade you out, and I'm gonna bring Derpy in because we do have picks and other things to do today. So Derpy, welcome to the show. Finch, always great having you, my friend. Thanks you for
again
coming
for
by.
having me on. This was a magical experience, and I sent you my picks, so make sure you guys look. The winning picks, they already come through, guys. So
hey, it's coming down. This is the last week, so we'll see if RB could hold on through this last week or not, guys. Thank you so much, Finch.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Love you
All
guys.
right.
See you next week,
brother. All right, holding the switch. Tortilla says the worst trade ever. This is the worst trade since George Pickens. But here it is.
Well, the trade may have gotten better because Derpy just bolted, so you get me instead for a little bit.
All right. Well,
this is the best show ever.
You know what?
I've tried to,
it is the best episode, but he's pissing me off because I need him for his picks, and I don't know if he's playing Derpy games.
Classic Derpy.
Yeah, he was. I texted him and everything. He bolted, but
classic Hollywood Derpy, right?
He saw Chad Brown leave. He's like, I'm hanging out with him.
All right,
to Scottsdale as we speak.
All right.
Just give me one.
I do gotta go, guys. So I'm cutting out. I'll see you. Talk to
all
you
right,
guys.
Finch. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, brother.
All right, I'm actually messaging Derpy myself right now, trying to get his ass here. If not, though, Mike, we will continue on because you know what? The show must go on. And
the show must go on.
We've hit bumps today. We've hit bumps, but here we are. We're still moving forward. And I got to be honest with you. We're here for it. It's Steeler Friday, guys. As it says right underneath my name right here, Steeler Friday. It's couldn't be a bigger one. And let me put it to you this way as well, guys. If the Steelers happen to not win this week, which it's possible, right? We go all year. We are here all year long. We cover the Steelers. We do dip into our other Pittsburgh sports throughout the year as well. Our Buccos, our Penguins, our Riverhounds, our Passion, the Riveters, the Panthers, anybody that we have, we're all about them. But we do cover the Steelers 365 days a year. Draft comes around. It's a big thing here. Also, free agency, everything that goes on in the off season, guys. So I just want everybody to know that if things don't go our way, which I think they are, and a matter of fact, I have my pick. I'm going to give that here shortly. I think the Steelers win this football game, but let's just say that something happens and the refs decide to play funny business. We are here all the time, guys. Don't forget to keep coming back and hanging out with us. With that being said, again, Chad Brown, everybody. Chad Brown for the first hour of the show today. Always happy to have Chad. Super grateful. And he has so much insight that he brings to the table, Mike, especially on this 30-year anniversary of the Super Bowl that he played in for Pittsburgh.
I do like how, we keep opening that bad wound for him every year on New Year's.
I know.
Hey, we set the, hey, Chad, you're going to start the year down here so it only goes uphill, brother. That's why we are here. But no, it was nice for him to come back on. Always a good talk with him. He's, like you said, just very insightful about football. And unlike some of like the older players you see in the NFL and other sports, still keeping up with today's games, today's athletes, the way the game is played differently than it was then, and judging it appropriately for the era it is too, and having that keen mind still to be able to talk intelligently about what is happening now, not what happened then or how these guys would deal with them, but how everything is now. It's refreshing to hear that from older players.
Absolutely. So super awesome. Again, unfortunately, we missed out on Levon. I'll get him. Levon Kirkland will be here, guys, sometime here soon. I promise you, I'll keep on him. I'm not sure what happened today, but Chad did bail us out. Again, there was a grander scheme, but it worked out for the best, guys. So again, a lot of things going on. Let me just jump on the board here for a few things, guys. Vegas says Thunder. There he is, baby. Thunder. Lindsay says Ward is on a shitty team, shitty organization, 0 weapons. He'll be fine if that changes. Cody, at this point, I don't even tune in for Pittsburgh. I tune in for the pod. That's awesome, brother. Also, Summer says this is Steelers lose. I might get to see them play next year in San Diego. Oh, that's right. We'll get to be able to figure out the schedules also after the game this weekend.
Yeah.
Once we see where we finish, first or second place, we'll be able to figure out the schedule. Not the exact dates, but we'll have all the teams and locations for you. Maybe next week. It all depends on how this thing. Next week, because if we win or lose, we'll be able to know. And get some more people in here, guys. I do want to say thank you, everybody on the terrible board today. Always kicking ass. No surprises there. Derpy, Mark Malone says this, Mike. He says Derpy still has a dildo in his ass.
I was going to say they were on their best behavior today, and they waited until Chad left. So
yes,
I appreciate that, guys.
I say these, Mike. I always say that this is the smartest board in the country. Really is. The terrible board is the smartest. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Freak was like, it's like when a guest comes over to your house, you're on your best behavior.
Right. They know. That's what I'm saying.
Most people don't. Tater was trying to cause some shit.
A lot of people don't know any better. The terrible board is very bright.
Man, we're uncouth.
Let's see. Tortilla says that was the worst trade ever, trading Derpy for Finch. But again, guys, I would have liked to get every question to Chad. Yes, Bingo, you did talk to Chad today. Let's see what else. Mike, Cody keeps getting on Penn State. He said, how'd Penn State finish this year? He hasn't seen you for a while.
My former team, Penn State, won. They won their bowl game. They're 7-6. My new team is 1 win away from playing for a national championship. Let's go Hoosiers!
Hey, you know what? One thing I like about the Ohio State loss, maybe that's why Derpy bounced. I don't know, but my favorite thing about the Ohio State loss was this: they lost to Miami. Miami didn't win the ACC, Mike. Miami didn't even finish in second place in the ACC. Miami finished third, tied with 4 teams in the ACC, and they went on to beat Ohio State. Maybe that's why Derpy bounced. He knew where this was all going.
I think so.
A 4th place ACC team knocks out his Ohio State, so I don't blame him. I don't blame him for running.
I think next year we have less SEC teams and have more ACC teams.
Yeah, we'll see. Tater says, "Go Buckeye." What's going on, Tater? I hope you have a good New Year as well. To be honest, let's see right here. Daryl, I do want to say thank you, my man. Daryl says your podcast and my wife, 2 best things about Pittsburgh. We appreciate that. That really means a lot.
Thanks,
Tyrone says, "Don't start Ryan." I'm not sure where that was from. There are some things, Mike, that I do want to get into. Again, we are going to get into these overs and unders. We are going to get into these other things today, but a few things that I do want to say, Mike. The injury report did come out yesterday. Today, the guys were supposed to. They're going to be practicing today. I think starting around 1:00. So the most up to the date injury report that I have, I'm going to read it to you real quick. We do have quite a few things to get into, Mike. So let me get into that real quick, would you? Yeah. There it is. All right, guys. So did not practice as of yesterday. James Pierre now with an illness. So whatever James Pierre has going on, he still did not practice to this point. Limited practice this week, and we should see all these guys this week. Calvin Anderson with his hammy, he practiced light. Brandon Eccles with his groin, he practiced light. Malik Harrison with his knee, he practiced light. Of course, TJ practiced light. We don't know entirely, but there's a lot of optimism that he's going to play on Sunday with the lung. Cam Hayward with the rest, he also didn't participate. Full practice as of yesterday, guys. Isaac Siamalu with the triceps, full practice. Aaron Rodgers with his left wrist, full practice. Ben Skoranek with the hand, and also Chris Kuntz, the long snapper, with his knee, all back to full participation in practice. Darnell Washington was put on the IR, and Lamar Jackson is getting the start on Sunday night against the Steelers, guys. I actually like this move. Some people don't. Some people do. I think I would rather face Lamar Jackson at 60%, which he probably is somewhere right around there, than somebody that isn't hurt. Again, being hurt limits you a lot of ways, physically, mentally, and I think that plays to our advantage. We have to figure out how to stop that run game. Mike, what do you think? All right. I don't know what happened to Mike. Mike just sent me a message saying that there's a power surge on the house. Can you hear me? What's going on, Mike? Anybody? Can you hear me on the board? Can you hear me on the board, everybody? Please let me know if you could hear me. I don't know what's going on. What's going on, Mike? Board. Mike, anybody? Can anybody hear me? Okay, Vegas can hear me.
There was a power surge.
What does that mean? Tell me. I don't even understand what that means. There's a power surge.
Some of the lights in my part of the studio flickered and went off and then back on.
All right,
so everything's still rocking and rolling.
So there was a power surge here at the studio. I don't understand entirely what's going on, but Finchy says we're there. Phil says we're there. Somber, everybody. All right, so we're going to continue to roll. I don't know what that was all about. You freaked me out for a moment. Everybody, Darrell.
I freaked myself out, bro.
Daryl, which way do you pronounce that? I'm not sure. Also, Vegas, Finchy, guys. So yes, we're still here. I apologize. I really wasn't sure what was going on. A few things else also as we do move forward, Mike. That was the injury report as we speak. Derek Harmon, he wins the Steelers Rookie of the Year award. Derek Harmon, Mike, Steelers Rookie of the Year. Any surprise? And if that is a surprise, who do you feel should have been the Steelers Rookie of the Year?
No, I think he should have, because the numbers back it up. We go from one of the worst running teams when he's not in there to one of the best run stuffing teams, if not the best run stuffing team in the NFL. He's had a huge improvement. That D line, it's well deserved.
Absolutely. I mean, it's night and day. Larry Ogunjobi to Derek Harmon. I think it made such an improvement on this line, and we needed to make that. And that's what you want with your first pick in the draft. That's what we got with Derek Harmon. Also, PQ, Patrick Queen named the 2025 Chief Award winner, Mike. Patrick Queen, Chief Award winner. And again, Derek Harmon, the Rookie of the Year for the Steelers. I have no argument with that. Let's talk a little bit. I've seen this pop up on the board, and I apologize. I would have loved to give more questions to Chad. However, Joey Porter is a topic of my conversation today because of some of the things that he's been able to do, Mike. Joey Porter Jr., of course, your guy from Penn State. Is he doing about what you thought he was going to be doing in the NFL, or is he exceeding that? What's your take on Joey at this point in his career?
He's exceeding my expectations, to be honest with you. I liked him coming out of Penn State. I liked when we got him. I thought he'd, just be a solid, serviceable corner, kind of like in that Chad Scott, Dwayne Washington, Deshae Townsend type role. Not going to wow you or anything, but for what he's been able to do, it's been impressive. And you see him get better year over year. I think his tackling took a little step back this year, but, shit happens. But I think he's improved overall from his rookie year to now, and, a worthy pick. If you would redo the draft, he would be taken to the first round. Broderick Jones would be in the second round. But, I think it's a very good pick. You more or less have half your field covered with him.
Mike, let me give you some interesting news, and then we're going to jump into something here real quick different. Joey Porter has played 1,444 consecutive coverage snaps without allowing a touchdown, the longest active streak amongst quarterbacks, and more than twice as long as the next closest streak. His last touchdown allowed in Week 8 in 2023. Porter has made a play on the ball on 21.5% of his targets this season, the fifth highest rate among cornerbacks with at least 50 targets, helping him to allow a 53.8 completion percentage, which is the 15th lowest in the league, Mike. And also I do see here that what is this? This is the passer rating allowed against him is the fourth. It's the fourth lowest in the league, only behind Jamel Dean, Derek Stingley Jr., and Quentin Mitchell. Quentin Mitchell, also somebody that we had interest in, I think, that particular year in the draft. That was the year after. So Joey Porter Jr., I think, was certainly blowing away most people's expectations as far as keeping people out of the end zone. And at the end of the day, that's ultimately what counts, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And his penalties against and yardage has gone down immensely this year. Early on, you thought we were going to have that struggle, but this year he took took the coaching well and is not holding on to receivers as much as he has in the past, or he's just starting to get away with it now. Either way, I'll take it.
All right, man. We have something. Hold on, hold on. Do I hear something? What is that? Whoa! Oh, the ghost of Myron.
Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good, Myron. It's great to see you, man. We haven't seen you for a while. Ghost of Myron, everybody. Welcome, Ghost of Myron Cope.
I'm glad you guys really pulled out all of the stops on this episode today.
You know what, Myron? It was, we had good intentions. It's the game, the show before the very last regular season game of the year. It just so happens to play out that it's, win, move on, lose and go home. So again, Myron, this is, it is a big show for us. We did try to go all out today, and we're glad to see you. I mean, come on, what makes the show bigger now than having the ghost of Myron Cope on the show?
Well, you guys did have my old friend Chad Brown on the show earlier. There's no way I can compete.
Well, you know what, Coop, you're pretty close. Let me ask you this. Now, we're going to need your help, Myron. There's been a lot of up and down in the NFL this year, and I think that it resonated to every team, to where every team's affected. I don't know if the the officials are officiating differently. I don't know how things, why things are the way they are this year. But I got a question for you, Myron. What chances do the Pittsburgh Steelers have to win this game this weekend? You never know. I mean, it might come down to making a football move in the end zone at the end of the game. It might come down to many different things. Myron, do the Steelers have a legit chance to go to the postseason?
You always have a chance against Lamar Jackson. That guy is overrated with a capital O. But to be honest, it's going to be the hardest hitting, the dirtiest, the toughest game of the season. It always is when you're playing against your rivals and the Baltimore Ravens, formerly the Browns.
Absolutely. And that is one thing that I did want to ask Chad, and I forgot he was actually involved in the very first Ravens-Steeler game. And I was gonna quiz him to see if he knew what happened on that first defensive play that I mentioned earlier in the week, guys. I did forget to bring that up to him. Myron,
I was there. Rod Woodson took it to the house.
It was Rod Woodson, and he did take it to the house. Myron, we're so glad that you're able to take your time from the football gods and all the things that you do up there. Obviously, this is a huge weekend. What do we got to do? What kind of energy, and are you going to be able to bring anything that you bring with all the football gods to bring us this victory on Sunday night?
Well, first off, we
Can
have
I
to
interject
understand.
real quick, guys.
Yeah.
We have another special guest here.
Another special guest?
Levon is here.
Shut up.
Yeah, he's here.
Everybody, Levon Kirkland. This did just become the best day of the season, guys. Levon Kirkland, welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and I'm sorry for any inconvenience that I've caused you.
My man, no inconvenience at all. It's great to see you. We'll tell the ghost of Myron. We'll tell him bye. We was filling some time. Levon Kirkland, everybody, welcome.
Thank you.
I don't know if you caught the show a little bit earlier. We had a surprise for you.
Okay.
And he actually left. Mr. Chad Brown was here, and I was going to throw him in at you as a surprise, and say we're going to bring on his 30-year anniversary of Super Bowl 30, of course, coming up, and we're going to throw him. Yeah. So, but he was here. He stopped. He said a lot of great things about you. We talked about that Super Bowl team, but most of all, we thank you so much for being able to come by, Levon. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem at all. And Chad's my guy. We kind of grew up together as linebackers, and it was funny. It was tough, man, but we learned so much from the struggle, and we became really good players.
You ain't kidding. We went through the whole conversation. Excuse me, 1995. And guys started 3-4. Rod Woodson blows out his knee in the first game against Detroit. He's come back, win 8 straight. Drop that last one against Green Bay. Get the bye with an 11-5 record. Beat Buffalo pretty bad. Colts game is one that every Steeler fan is going to remember for the rest of our lives with the Jim Harbaugh. And then, of course, the Super Bowl in Tempe, Arizona out in the desert. And I think we all agreed here on the show with Chad that this was a game that we should have won. We're not sure what was going through the head of our quarterback, but the defense certainly played well enough to win that football game. Levon, what's your thoughts on that game going back 30 years this coming January 28th?
wow, as I go back in in time, I really, that week of the game, and even before that, the preparation, I thought that we had a great game plan against them. I thought that we did a great job of stopping the run. And with Dallas that year and the years before, if you could neutralize the run, you could really affect them
Absolutely.
in a way. And we did that. We really affected them in a way. And then our offense was able to move the ball as well. So it was there. It was
Right.
there. It was our opportunity to win. I really felt that we were going to win the game. And as the game progressed, I really felt that way. I really felt like they couldn't do anything on us offensively. And we gave up 14 points off of two interceptions that was down in the red zone. If we don't even give up one of
I
those
know.
interceptions, we probably will win that game because they can't move the ball at all.
LaVon,
We
and
Yeah,
at the end of the first half, and a lot of people were thinking, what you're saying. People came in, people from your football team, and the people that are Steeler fans believed that we could win a football game, but nobody else on the planet Earth thought that we were going to stop the big three: Troy Aikman, Emmett Smith, Michael Irvin. When that game was 13-7 at halftime, I thought, you know what, we're winning this football game.
uh,
This isn't a Dallas Cowboy football game where they just go out and do their thing. This Steelers defense made this a legit football game. 13-7. We came out, got that onside kickback. I thought there's no way we're going to lose. We were close, LaVon. And that's something you guys should certainly never hang your head on, because that was
right.
certainly a monumental game. Win, lose, or draw. Nobody's going to ever forget you guys, especially those two guys in the middle, 99 and 94.
Oh, well, thank you very much for
Sure.
that. But yeah, we felt that way too. 13-7. I think we took their biggest blows in the first part of the game, and I
Yes.
will I would say that was a little bit of nerve, and we gave up a really big play. But once we settled down and realized that, okay, if we can stop this run, we're going to be able to have them. We're going to be able to play against them and play well as the game goes along. And we did. We stuffed their run. And, they actually had a Dallas Cowboys, the America's team thing
Yeah.
on Netflix. And
Yeah.
they talked about that game.
Did they?
Yeah. And they basically said that they were in trouble in that game. They were like, we could not move the ball and we were in trouble. And we had them on the ropes, man. We really did. And, the two interceptions really hurt us.
The two interceptions are certainly was the game, and again, they were if Dallas wasn't able to come out and do what it was that they did, you really felt that put them at a disadvantage, because they weren't able just to move the ball at will as they were able to do all season long. And this scrappy 11-5 football team from Pittsburgh was keeping them in their place. And again, as you said, the blows early. I think there was a big pass to Michael, a big pass to the tight end, and they were able to move the ball early on. You guys made the adjustments. You guys were stopping them in their tracks beyond that point. And without Neil again throwing those two balls away, we probably win that football game. And before I get into the Neil O'Donnell question that everybody is dying for me to ask you, I do want to say this: that Chad,
Yeah.
he certainly answered a lot of questions in this particular game, and it's very interesting to get the guy that stood right beside him and fought right beside him in the foxhole, and as it was, your head was in this battle as he was, and so it's really awesome to be able to talk to both these guys today and to see what the way you felt about this particular game. Again, it is only 26 days, LaVon, from 30 years. And I explained to Chad as well, us being Generation Xers, that was the biggest football game of our lives at that particular time. Everybody here on the show, most of the guys on the board, a lot of people at home, because we heard about the Super 70s. We didn't see them. We were still a little too young. So
Right.
you guys were what we were waiting for years and years. And like I said, win, lose, or draw, that's why that particular team, those particular players, you guys will never, ever be forgotten by Pittsburgh fans.
For a team that didn't win a Super Bowl, I felt the same way because I think Coach Cowher kind of brought the life back into the Pittsburgh Steelers because the 80s was a little bit of a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And then we came along and his energy, and we got the right players, especially on that defense. We had the
Yes.
right guys. especially if you think about Chad and myself. I mean, you're talking about an experiment that actually worked. You get two guys who played outside backer in college, and
Right.
you move them in the inside. And what they did was it really, what people probably didn't understand, we were probably better athletes than most linebackers
Levon,
during that time. So
bro,
we had the right matchup. Me and Chad, it was an amazing blend.
I've
And if
never
he would have
seen
stayed, go ahead. I'm
I've
sorry.
never seen anybody play before you do continue that thought, and I apologize for cutting you off. I've never seen anybody play linebacker with size like the size that you had. Levon Kirkland intercepting balls 30 yards down the field or making a sack on the very next play. The athletic ability of guys like yourself on that football team, it's unmeasurable.
Yeah, it was really a good matchup, and we really complemented each other pretty well. Chad to me was an amazing pass rusher, but
Mhm.
he could stop the run. I mean, he could drop off in coverage. I was asked to do a lot more in the coverage part of it, maybe because I could just do it. And it was like, man, we got this big guy who's around 270 who can run down the field with any tight end in the league, who can cover a back out of the backfield, who can definitely stuff the run. So we were able to do things that probably a lot of other teams could not do because of what we did. And then you talk about Kevin and Greg
Mm,
and what we had as far as Rod Woodson and Cardell Lake. And I mean, Darren Perry was a very good player as well.
absolutely.
He understood the defense. I mean, back and forth. And we were just all a great combination. We had Joel Steed in front of us, man. Joel
Yeah.
Steed was amazing.
Brenston Buckner,
So
Steed.
Briston Buckner, big play Ray. I mean, we were a defense that, man, I thought we brought back the fire. We had a certain swag about us, and then I think that we were innovators because of the defense that we ran, and we really didn't. We stuffed the quarterback. We didn't really give him enough time to really figure it all out. We were
Right.
all over the place, and it was just funny because we all had 90 numbers.
You're
The
right.
front seven did, and
Sure
I don't
did.
know how that all happened, but we did, and it was an amazing, amazing time. It was a lot of fun. It really was.
Certainly one of the biggest point, and I'm not just, I mean, come on. Yeah, I mean, you're obviously on the show, and I can say this. I'm not just saying that it was a super important time in my life for sure. And also, a lot of people don't remember that Rod goes out early. First game
Yeah,
that year with the injury, they have to move Carnell. They moved Carnell.
to
He had an
corner.
All-Pro season to cornerback. So the defense was certainly something special. The offensive side of the ball, they weren't the Dallas Cowboys by any means. So this defense, it pretty much carried the load as we did win that 8 games in a row in the middle of the season to get ourselves back into the race after starting 3-4. The defense is certainly a lot, the biggest part of that particular team. But let's jump over to the offensive side of the ball. Let me ask you a couple questions here.
Uh huh.
As again, from the board, people are just around. They want to know these questions. Levon, we asked Chad this earlier. Neil O'Donnell, the throws. As you're taking a drink, I'll say
Thank
that
you.
name.
Had a little thing go down my throat, but I'm good.
Neil O'Donnell, were those passes his fault or were they the receiver's fault?
God, I'm just speculating. I think it was both.
Okay.
I
And
think
that's
one was definitely Neil's fault because he threw it right to the guy. Well,
yeah,
actually, he threw both of them right to it. So I can understand where people may think that it
right,
was his fault. I know one of them was.
right. And
The
you know what? It's
second one or the first one, I'm not quite sure, but it seemed like the second one was definitely on him.
And that's exactly what Chad said. So you know what? It lines up. He literally said it seemed like it was one was Neil's and one was the receiver. If I'm remembering right, I think it was Andre at the time. I could be wrong. I thought the Andre Hastings was the. I thought Andre Hastings, I'm sorry, was the receiver on that particular pattern. But I just wanted to get your take. And again, it did match exactly what Chad said. So
Yeah,
I think that's the answer we're going to go with here, guys, in Pittsburgh from now on. It's
yeah. I
1-1.
think that's it. I really believe. and that's why sometimes, I thought Neil was a really good quarterback. I didn't think he was a bad quarterback at
Right.
all. And really, Neil, it was uncharacteristic of him to throw interceptions.
He
That was the thing, right? He didn't really throw a lot of interceptions. And really, that AFC championship game, he really bailed us out. I mean, he really played well down the stretch. And even in that 8 game run, I mean, we were rolling. I
oh
mean, we had
wow.
the 5 wide receivers. Nobody
Yes.
had that. We had a special player, and,
Cordell.
Cordell Stewart was a special.
My
People don't
God.
people don't understand how special Cordell Stewart
We don't
was
finish
as a
11 and
player
5 if it wasn't for Cordell, because there
for
was a
Cordell.
couple big plays during the season. He
Yeah,
won on his own. He did.
yeah. Big wide. I mean, think about it. A guy who was really a quarterback that played wide receiver like an all pro.
Right.
Like that guy. I mean, and the reason why is I think he was just on the scout team for a while, and he was killing us on the scout team. We,
Really?
we could not stop him on the scout. Like our first defense, we couldn't really stop him. And I think Dick LeBeau or somebody might either Coach Cowher came to the conclusion that we need to put him on the field, that we were wasting him away on the sideline. And when we started doing that, man, that's when our offense really started rolling. And I think that this is what I think. I think sometimes media folks, reporters, I don't think they really look at the game sometimes.
I don't either.
I really don't think they look at the games, because I thought, like, if you've watched the game, if you watched us play these last 8 games, it's no way that the Dallas Cowboys are just going to run over us.
I agree.
I mean, first, we're the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we take ownership of what we do.
Absolutely.
And at that time, we took a lot of pride of stopping the run, playing intimidating defense when you could really play defense the way defense should be played. So I really thought that all these reporters, all these they were not watching the games.
You know what?
Dallas, although Dallas, how good they were, and I'm sorry for interrupting.
No,
Dallas,
by all
for how
means.
good they were not as good as they've been in the past, because I really believe that Jimmy Johnson made such a difference with that team.
We got the Barry Switzer team, didn't we?
Yeah, we got the Barry Switzer team, who basically kind of ran off the talent that they had before, but we had the fortitude, we had the attitude, we had everything to win, and we just made two mistakes really that stopped us from winning the game. So that's 14 points that you're taking away from this game. And
It,
even that the one they got when they say Emmitt Smith crossed the line, he did not cross the line of scrimmage.
you're right, right.
He did. I mean, we stuffed him in a hole, and I guess the referee saw one thing. If it was today's game, they would have never got that. They would have overturned that and would have got that touchdown. But I really go to say that that team has so much heart. It has so much heart, and I think the reason why is because the year before we lost to San Diego,
Three
and
more yards.
once we got to that point, we were like, we're not losing. And
Yes.
I told Coach Cowher, believe it or not, I told Coach Cowher after the Green Bay game, we're going to the Super Bowl.
You know what? I think a lot of people felt that way, and I even make that point on the show sometime. Every year, it seemed like we got a little bit further. I think 2 years prior, we lost the Kansas City on the Joe Montana year,
Oh my
and then
gosh.
Buffalo the year
We were so
before.
young though.
Very young.
We were very young. I mean, we had some vets, but me and Chad, I mean, we were like, Chad was in his first year. I was in my
Yeah.
second year. Joel was in his first year. No, second year. Darren Perry was in his second year. And we basically outclassed those guys, and a block punt kills us.
Yeah.
Yeah, block punt kind of gives them a chance to come back. We had that game in hand. Uh, the San Diego game, which I thought that was the best defense that we had
Yes.
in 1994. That defense was crazy good.
And I got to
And
be
then,
honest with you,
yeah,
it was two crazy Poopanu catches, the tight end, was it Greg
Yeah,
Poopanu? I mean, if it
yeah,
wasn't for those two plays, and they were kind of, something that just got blown up somewhere, we should have, in fact, won that game. 3 more yards. It came down to the incomplete pass at the end with Barry,
right, yeah.
and you felt that as fans every year we were getting a little bit closer. And that's again, Levon. That's why I tell everybody on the show, you felt that every year, and I wasn't surprised at all that we went to the Super Bowl in the '95 season. I'm not, because you felt that progress of our
Oh
team
yeah,
every year
yeah,
leading up
yeah.
to that.
It was like, man, we you talk about drafted really well. We drafted well in those early '90s, man. It started with our class with me,
Absolutely,
Leon, and Joe Steed, and then
absolutely.
the next group was Dion Figures, Chad Brown. I mean, we every for those first 3 years, I think every guy became those first three draft picks became starters on the team.
And besides, and just kind of into what you're saying, how big was Dion Figures when Rod went out with that injury all season? He was able to step up at the other corner position and have a great year. Dion did.
Well, yeah, Dion was a really good corner.
He
You
was.
know, he really was a good corner. Willie Williams was actually a very
Mm,
good corner as well.
yes.
And Willie was someone we got in he got like seventh round. But when Willie came to camp, you could tell that, man, this guy got a little something about him. He can
Okay.
play. And Willie Williams was a really good player. He played for a long time in the league, and
Remember the
ma-
Seattle with you guys
yeah, he
there?
played in Seattle for a long time. Came back to Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
won a championship in that time. So, man, we were a team that, man, we should be if we win a Super Bowl, man, we're one of the all time best defenses in pro ball. We
I
really are.
agree.
Yeah, so it was a great time, and then we just came up short. I mean, we really did. We just came up short.
And you know, I couldn't agree more with everything that you're saying, Levon. And like I said, this is a conversation that you and I could probably talk about that season for days if we
Oh
had the
yeah.
time. But let me do move on. There's a big football game coming up this weekend in Pittsburgh. Of course, the Baltimore Ravens making the trip over here to the North Shore on Sunday night for an all or nothing. This is literally the first round of the playoffs. Basically, you win, you move on; you lose, you go home. Levon, of course, the big thing that we have to worry about is stopping King Henry on Sunday night. You being who you are, what do we got to do to be able to stop King Henry from running away with this football game on Sunday and taking us out of the game, basically? How do we stop this guy?
I think a guy like that, his running pattern is definitely downhill. So I think that anytime you have a guy like that, you have to make him go east to west.
Yes.
If you can make if you can make him go east to west, he's not as effective. He doesn't have his big power behind him, and he's an easier target, and you can stop him a lot better.
Right.
If you let him go downhill early in the game, he can wear on you, and and that's the beauty of the run game. If you can run the ball on a team, it physically and mentally wears you down as a player. So as a defender, you gotta attack him. You gotta have multiple guys at the ball. You can't just leave it one on one guy. You gotta really get around that guy. You gotta pursue him and you gotta attack him. And I always think the great players, the better they are, the more you need to attack them.
Right.
The more you need to attack him. And with him, because of his size and everything like that, I would have loved playing against. I would have loved playing against him.
Well, we would have
He
loved, we love you playing
he
against him as
he's
well.
he's my kind of guy.
Right.
He's my because what he brings to the game is what we brought because we had bigger linebackers at the time.
Right.
You know, so
Absolutely.
so what he brought to the game, we brought to the game too, and I really feel like a defense like ours would have really we would have really xed them out. So I think when you have a guy like that, you have to attack him, make sure that he's going east and west. So it's a lot of penetration with the line, defensive line, and linebackers coming and cleaning up and scraping and playing downhill hard like he plays
and
downhill.
and they're able to, I think, take advantage as well, Levon, because the league has certainly changed more into a passing league over the past 15 years, and a lot of these linebackers they size down to try to keep up with coverages and all these different kind of schemes. So I think that's where somebody like King Henry and these Baltimore Ravens certainly could take advantage because the linebackers aren't the size that you or the size that Chad was, Greg Lloyd, Kevin Green. I mean, it's a different time, and I think he's able to take advantage of it being a different time.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think what running teams do very well is the now more teams are playing like a 4-2-5.
Right.
And so now what was great about our defense, the 3-4, was you occupy the tackles in the center. Now you got two guys on the outside, so you're not running outside.
Right.
It's going to be difficult for you to run outside. Our
Absolutely.
nose guard does a great job of penetration, so usually the running back going to have to really defer going one way or the other. And we fit in the holes very well at that time. So I really think that the the defensive fronts allow more running because now you're putting a nickel in the game, you're taking away a linebacker,
Right.
and you're asking someone that's probably not that great tackling a big dude in space, and that's why you give up all the yards. I mean, what we did, I thought, um, as a unit, especially a guy like me, you can't find guys like me
You can't.
because I was able to do everything, like
You
more
truly
so
did.
than more so than most guys could do. I'm not saying I'm a Hall of Famer or anything like that, but
Lavon,
during my time, I can do more. I could do I was more versatile than most fans would have known, but it took a while for even offensive coordinators to catch on. Like
right.
this guy can actually do it all.
Lavon, you did
Like
everything. You
he
did.
can cover. He can
You
do all
covered
that. Yeah.
downfield. You were in the backfield. You were stopping the run. You were in the holes. You did everything well. And I continue to tell people that for years and years after the Super Bowl 30 had gone and went. I said, Lavon Kirkland is one of the best linebackers that's ever played for the Steelers. You could talk Lambert, you could talk Ham, all these guys. And it's true. They're great. But if you are a Steeler fan and you watch this team play week in, week out, in the way that these guys play, you would know that Lavon Kirkland was one of the best linebackers to ever put on a Steeler uniform. I've always said that. I've
Oh
always
well,
said that.
thank you. I really appreciate that. I was just versatile. I mean, I can do things that didn't fit my body,
Right.
and I
Absolutely.
think most people they didn't catch on,
Stretching out 30 yards
unless
down
you
the
were
field to intercept the ball. Come on.
unless you watched it all the time,
Right.
and that was the thing. I mean, that was the thing. Even with other teams, they're just like, dude, how do you run as fast as you run down the field? And
It's amazing.
I think that was a fun thing about me. And the thing I like doing the best is I like covering tight ends. I like interceptions more than anything.
We could sure use you now. We could sure
So
use-
it was, I can happen. My size. I mean, people like, oh, he was big, but my size was an advantage. That's what
right.
people didn't understand in the run game, taking on guards, taking on tackles. I had to be a little bigger.
Yes.
I had to be a little bigger. I couldn't be small because they were attacking downhill all the time, and so you had to be able to adjust to that and attack it. So my size was my advantage. It really was,
Absolutely.
and I was able to run. And the one thing I think that a lot of people don't understand is I was probably a pretty smart player too.
I
I
would
didn't
say.
brag about how smart I was or whatever like that, but pretty smart player as well.
Absolutely. You were the total package, Lavon. You truly were. We're not going to keep you all day. Let me just ask you a couple more questions here.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk.
Also on the board, terrible board, guys. Throw up some questions for Levon. I will ask him some of your questions today. Throw up some questions. We will get to that. My a couple of things. Let me start with this. How is Levon Kirkland doing these days, my man?
Man, I am doing well. I am. I am working
Super
at Clemson University as
good.
the director of football initiative and sophomore development.
Nice.
So I work with Clemson University. I don't coach or anything like that, but I really work with the guys as far as on the counseling side of it. I received my master's in psychology a couple years ago.
Okay.
So
Congratulations.
I am more in a counseling mentor life coach position. And I love it because I get to really relate to the players and I get to give them a little bit of my wisdom. It's a little bit of it's a different world when you talk about guys getting guys in the NIL and guys in the transfer
It's
portal.
a whole
And
different world.
we really, I think the system is bad.
I do too.
The system gives our guys just, they can just leave when they want to.
I know. I don't like
And
that.
I don't really particularly like it. I always try to tell our guys, make sure you get your degree first because it's a shelf life as far as being a football player is concerned. You don't want to come here and waste your time. But now it's kind of a trend where guys are just, you got these guys jumping into the transfer portal and a lot of them have not done much. They don't have a big resume
Right.
to go into the transfer portal, but because like leaving your junior year, and you remember how trendy that was, guys would
Yeah.
leave. I think guys would do it because they thought it was cool.
You're right.
It,
Right.
it wasn't something that, hey, maybe you need to think about this before you leave. It was
You're
more
right.
so that they think that it's a cool thing to do, and that's what they do. And I think it really interrupts the flow of a team because building a team is, it takes some time sometimes, and and these players thinking I'm better than I am,
You're
and
right.
I'm gonna go into the transfer portal, and the next thing you know, they get lost. There's some guys who go and they do well, but I think the majority don't do well.
And you got some of these guys making more money in college than they make on a rookie contracts. I mean, the whole it changes the whole
First,
game.
first of all, we're giving we're giving guys who are not quite developed, and this is a proof factor.
Mm.
They're not fully developed mentally. Their
Right.
prefrontal cortex is not there yet, so
Right.
they tend to make rash decisions. Unlike young ladies that are more mature, they
Right.
don't make rash decisions. Our young men make rash decisions
Absolutely.
because you think you're invulnerable at that time. You think that nothing can touch you, and in a way, I get it, but also we're giving them an opportunity to just really muck it up.
You're right.
we
It's
do.
it's kind of turning into a mess, and once more layers get peeled back, it will become more of a mess. I
Yeah.
do think. Um, go finish that thought. I have a question. I do have one more. I have a big question here for
Okay.
you.
Well, I
Yeah,
just think that we're putting guys in situations they're not quite ready to handle.
I agree. I couldn't agree
We're
more.
giving them a big responsibility that, man, they're just not ready to handle, and they make emotional decisions. And when you make an emotional decision, it's not usually a good decision. Guys, it's like, for example, when I went to college, I wasn't very highly recruited. I was, I was, I came from a 1A school, and I worked for my position because I wasn't a 4-star, 5-star,
Right.
3-star. And so I was fine with like, well, I'm not sitting this bench
You're right.
in my career. I'm going to go get what I feel is mine. And now we don't have guys to do that. They're good with just being second string.
Right.
They're cool with it.
Hey,
And
you collect a paycheck. I'm on the team, and
and now they're not only are they collecting a paycheck, they still got scholarships.
right.
They still got
Right.
scholarships, and they get a good bit of money.
Right.
Like if I was a college player, I wouldn't leave college until it was time to leave college
Right.
because you're getting good money.
And
It's not NFL money, but it's really good money.
especially if you're not getting that, you're not going to be a first round pick. You might as well. Your rookie
Yeah,
contracts probably
unless you top 10,
exactly.
why would you go?
question from the board. Levon, with everything going on in Pittsburgh, it would be great to see somebody like you be a defensive coordinator in Pittsburgh. Is there ever a chance that the great Levon Kirkland becomes a something of that anywhere around the league, but certainly Pittsburgh would be our area of interest? Any chance you ever become the defensive coordinator in Pittsburgh?
Well, you never say never, but for the most part, I love what I do and I love the realm that I'm in. I don't know, like the coaching aspect of it is a little difficult as far as sustaining a stable life. I
Right,
think you're I think guys move too much. I think it's a lot of pressure. And forbid if you go in the wrong environment. If you
right,
go in the wrong if you go in the wrong environment, and environment is everything as far as where we put ourselves in. If we
right.
put us you put yourself at a bad organization that don't know how to win, don't know how to treat their players, whatever like that, it's just miserable. It's going to be miserable for you. So the reason why I love what I do because it gives me flexibility to move forward or move on. I think sometimes in the coaching realm, you're kind of in a coaching bubble. Although you're making a lot of money, it is taxing. Guys get burnt out, and if you don't win, it can be crucial.
Absolutely. And at
So
the end of the
that's
day,
probably
not every team wins. And you're right. There's got to be coaches on these teams that aren't winning. So, they're living that tough life,
they're living that. I mean, like like coaches are getting fired like around the holidays.
You're right. Right.
And you're like, wow.
I
So
know.
you set up a home now. You got to move from that home and go find the next place that you're gonna live. I just don't want to. I didn't want to live that lifestyle. I
You're
tried
right.
it, and I was coaching at Arizona with the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I coached on the college level, high school level. In a lot of ways, I love the coaching aspect of it. I may not like the other aspect of it when
Right.
the team is just not doing well and you get caught up in the crossfire and that's it.
And there's
So
no doubting it. Everybody knows, everybody believes, believe me, that your game, the game, and you would be great at your job if you were to do that. But you know what? You make a lot of sense on that, Levon. I mean, at some point when you find what you're content with, you've already been there. You've done that. You was the NFL. You was a Pro Bowl. So now you're just at that point in your life where you're finding what makes you content, and that's totally respectable. We are just desperate for somebody to come here and do a great job with our team, but I totally understand
I
and
just,
respect where you're coming from.
in my opinion, and I know a lot of people wouldn't believe me, I think that you could play the 3-4 on first and second down no matter what the alignment is.
Right.
And I think it could be very effective against the run. And I think if you put the right guys in place, it could be effective against the pass. I mean,
I agree.
honestly, there's not that many coverages out there.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
There's only like cover one, cover two, cover
Right.
three. And I mean, you may do variations of a robber. You may do some six coverage. There's not that many coverages out
You're
there.
right.
So I mean, and I know some people be like, "Well, you're lost in the past," but I think the game of football essentially is the same thing. I think that the reason why you get guys hurt a lot is because you don't practice. Like, dude, football, I don't care what shape you're in. I don't care what you've done in all season. You still got to get used to hitting
Absolutely.
at a certain level. And
Levon,
that's why guys get hurt all the time because they're not trained in the rigors of real football.
I say this all the time, Cam. Levon, preseason, Aaron Rodgers didn't step on the field one time. Even even being a future Hall of Famer, you got to get your reps. You got to get out there. You
Got
got to
to get
practice.
your reps.
I say this all
Unless
the
you hurt.
time. Unless you're hurt, of course, of course. But you know what? Our preseason was real lax. A lot of guys, a lot of stars. Jalen Ramsey didn't play a snap all preseason. Aaron Rodgers didn't play a snap all preseason. I understand the concept. These guys know what they're doing. They've been there, done that. They're still human. You got to get out there. You got to get your reps. You got to practice if you want to be successful, no matter who you are. Correct?
No matter what, who you are, or what you've done in the past, you still got. It still is a period where you got to get used to the past.
Absolutely.
I mean, like I'm in my 5th year or whatever like that, and I'm still those preseason games.
Mm.
The reason why you had to play, and I didn't mind playing it, because you had to get used to hitting again.
Absolutely.
And if you don't do that, when you go out there for the first game and it's real bullets flying,
Okay.
your body is like, "What are we doing? We don't work. We don't work this hard. We
It,
haven't
it,
worked. We haven't worked this hard. You're putting us in a situation where our bodies are not quite ready to do what it needs to do, and that's
abso-
why I think you play the first preseason game. You play like, okay, you play like a series, right? If you're a starter. The second one, you play 2 quarters,
right.
to get the rhythm of playing and hitting the guy and shedding the guy. Third game, you do the same. You play about 2 quarters. And then the fourth game, you play about a series.
Right.
Now your mental capacity and your body is ready to take on the task of the
Of,
first game.
of the speed of the game. I
And
mean,
the speed, yes.
you can't. I agree 100%. Let me jump into this question right here. I did see something that was okay. Here it is. Bingo Winchester asks you this, Levon. He says, "Is there any place in today's game for a coach like Cower grab a dude by the face mask and chew his ass out on national TV, or is that time, or is it too different of a time now?"
I think you can go back to that time. I
I
do, because what I'm finding out in the social media world is parents are regretting the gentle parenting that they've done with their kids. They realize that although our parents were not quite always right,
right.
that the toughness that they gave us was it really prepared us to live in the world.
I agree.
What we've done with our children with the soft parenting is really we put our kids out there in a world that is a whole lot tougher than they've been raised in.
I couldn't agree
So I
more.
think, yeah, why wouldn't it work?
You're
Be,
right.
a guy like Coward, man. I mean, you're talking about a guy who can motivate you to go beyond yourself.
And you know what? I agree 100%. I am a coward guy. I've always been a coward guy because
Yes,
like you said, I grew up through that time and I felt what you guys were learning. Dan Campbell could be somewhat similar to what people, would consider the style.
Dan Campbell reminds me of Coach Coward.
Absolutely. But,
Yeah.
just in general these days, people don't want you walking up and grabbing their kids by the face mask. But I agree with you. Those are the things that made you tougher. Those were the things that took you to the next level. Listen, he ran down the sideline, grabbed Greg Lloyd by the face mask, spit flying everywhere. For one, the guy has balls. For two, you have to respect that he has those balls to do things like that. And for three, you tend to follow a guy that has that toughness. And I think that's what you guys did. And these guys were as tough as nails, that Pittsburgh
Well,
Steelers defense.
I mean, I look at it this way. I look at parenting, and I look at when you're trying to tell a kid that is just wild and crazy about, you're trying to talk to them in a certain way.
Right.
And then the father or somebody comes in and like corrects him, and what does he do? He complies to it.
Right.
And I'm not saying like don't be smart about it. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying slap your kid around or whatever like that.
Right.
I'm not saying that, but sometimes, man, let's be for real, people.
You're right.
We gotta kind of like we gotta rule our kids, man, so they can be able to go out in this world and be self sufficient.
And if we
And
don't
what
do that, they'll be living in our basements for the next 20 years. So
they will drain you dry, man. I'm
you're
telling you,
right.
if it's not going to kill them for you to discipline them.
You're right. And
It's not going to kill you to, and it's not going to kill you to discipline like some of these players and make them stand up. Okay, I know some people say, well, back in your day, it was blah blah blah. I worked for owner and my boss,
yeah,
and I did what I did to be able to feed and help support my family and really support my lifestyle right now. There's nothing wrong with it.
no,
You
I
gotta
mean,
just take it in perspective. But I'm telling you, man, if you like, that's why I really feel like, in my theory, is why players get hurt so much, because doing training camp, they're barely training.
I know.
I was with the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, you talk about, they actually did a walkthrough, and I mean like a walkthrough, and I'm like, wow, this is different.
This is, it's like nothing. What are you doing? Right.
Yeah, and you're thinking like, man, I think as a player, you love that because, well, I don't have to work. But really, the work is what makes you, what makes you. The work is what makes you. And I think like it starts with, I mean, it's our society now. Our society, we just, you know, we can't do anything to our kids. Our kids can run over, they can talk to us any kind of way, they can
Uh,
do whatever. But when it comes to the real world, they're asking, they're not self sufficient.
the thing is, a lot of us see that, and the ones that are doing what we can do, we do it. But you know what? There's still the rest of the world out there that we have to contend with when they don't decide to go along with that as well. And again, you see these problems in everyday life. It's not just sports; it's kids that that don't have that structure. They don't. A lot of places, the common workplace, on athletic fields, on anything that you get into, Levon, you certainly see that playing a role in today's society. And I don't think
Mhm.
it's going well for our kids. Only time will tell. It's going to come down to how they raise their kids in the next round, and we just don't know how that's going to turn out at this point.
Yeah, hopefully so. But I guarantee the people during our time, probably we wish that we were a little tougher on our kids than we
Right,
were,
right,
because now is like, if you're so quick to solve every little problem that they have, then you'll have to do that for the rest of their lives.
right. Yeah, right.
You do. I mean, we fell down, and basically, I, I had so many brothers and sisters. It was like, whatever, man. You get up. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Whatever, man. Like like sometimes I feel uh, like when you're raising a boy, sometimes, and sometimes mothers, man, if the boy falls down, they're ready to pick him up. Where we understand as a man,
Yeah.
he has to get up.
Yeah, right. And
He
like you said, if
has
we
to
do
get up.
everything for them, we're going to be taking care of them for the rest of their lives because that's all they're going to know. And then, unfortunately for them, it's just not how it works, Levon. But you know what? We are going to start getting ready to wrap things up, my friend. Again,
Yeah.
thank you so much. But I'm not going to let you go without giving us a prediction. There's a huge football game that's taking place on the North Shore this Sunday night. You may or may not have heard about it, but it's between those two teams, the Ravens and them Steelers. Levon, not just because you're a Steeler fan, what's your honest prediction
Okay.
for this football game on Sunday night?
Man, I'm not the one to predict games,
Okay.
but it's fun sometimes. But I just think that um, I really believe that the Steelers are going to win, and I believe that because I like Tomlin. I like what he brings to the team. I just think that we're a tougher team right now.
I do too.
It's not going to be easy at all. It really isn't.
Is it going to be a classic Ravens Steelers game?
I think it's gonna be classic Raven
I do
Steelers
too.
game.
Low
I don't see it any other way.
low scoring, kind of ugly. Keep the game close. Probably a 3 to 4 point finish at the end of the game, either way, one way or the
Yeah,
other.
I think if you could protect Aaron, I think we got some weapons. I
You
think
know
our
what?
running game is pretty good. Our offensive line is coming along.
Hey, you gotta like what the offensive line's doing, right?
Yeah, I think that Aaron Rodgers, if given time, could pick you apart.
Absolutely.
I think he could. I think with Lamar though, I think Lamar, and I know people hate I'm saying this, but I think at some point in time, when you run around and you take the hits and the licks that he's taking,
Yeah,
I'm not taking anything away from him, but as you get older, it does wear you down.
absolutely.
It does wear you down, and I think sometimes um, you gotta be able. I'm doing everything, sneezing, coughing, everything,
You're good, my man.
but I really believe that sometimes Lamar puts you in trouble.
I agree.
I think he, everybody always says offensive line or whatever like that, but a lot of times when they're running quarterback, you have to deal with. Sometimes he's gonna get sacked because he kind of created it,
You're right.
and sometimes I don't. I think he can throw. He can do all of it, but he doesn't always as accurate as I think he should be.
And you know what else I was telling Chad earlier on the show, Levon, that I would rather face Lamar this week. There's no secret that he's been dealing with a lot of injury. I mean, he's no young player anymore. For one, for two, he's had many of injuries, and for three, just 2 weeks ago, his back injury, or his pain in his back was so bad that even shots weren't able to get him to where he felt healthy enough to play. So I think he's a liability. Yes, he brings mad talent. Yes, if you sleep on him, he's going to hurt you. But at the end of the day, I prefer to play the 65% healthy Lamar Jackson. I think
Heck
that plays
yeah.
to our advantage. I think that, again, he's putting the ball on the ground a lot this season, losing the ball. I think that this plays to our advantage that he's starting. People are going to call me crazy, but I would rather face him than Snoop Huntley this week. I think that plays to our advantage.
Sometimes I think sometimes people don't look at it deeper than what it is. I think
Right.
you're absolutely right. When someone's hurt like that, it affects their game.
For sure.
It does, and sometimes it affected for the best, and sometimes the worst. Like sometimes a guy can be hurt, and he's a little bit more focused,
You're
and he
right.
plays better. Then some guys are hurt, and they're trying to do too much, and it really comes back to bite you. I just think that the Steelers are are better prepared for this kind of game, which it's going to be a fight. I just think that the Steelers are going to be able to do what they need to do to win this game. So, yeah, I'm going to pick the Steelers in this one.
You know what? I am taking the Steelers too. I think pound for pound, we're a better football team. They do have the King Henry advantage. Anywhere he plays, he's going to be an advantage for that team. But all in all, I do think that the Steelers have a better football team. Baltimore's defense has been really weak this year. I'm not going to say that we were great, but at the end of the day, pound for pound, I think that we do have the better football team. I think we
Right.
do win this one. My prediction, I don't need a score from you. I'm saying 20-14 Pittsburgh. But
Okay,
I
I can
think
see
this is
that.
going to be a classic
Yeah,
Ravens Steelers
but
game.
and then also too, if you look at Baltimore, they got a weak link on their offensive line.
They sure do. I
They
know.
got a weak, I mean, weak link on
Yes.
their offensive line, and we took advantage of that the first time around.
We sure did. And we got to continue to do those
And
things.
we got to go after that weak link. And I think a lot of times in football, some coaches, they're just throwing out plays. I know that Dick LeBeau, Don Caper, Bill Cowher, Tim Lewis, they all went after the offensive weakness.
You're right.
You have to
You
do,
have to.
especially if there's a weakness on the line of scrimmage.
And the thing is, if you're not doing that, then you're not doing your job entirely, because why wouldn't you attack the weak link? Why wouldn't you go after,
Amen.
the other teams at a disadvantage? Levon, we thank you so much,
Thank
my
you.
friend. I hope your new year goes wonderful, safe for you and your family. The door is
It will.
always open here on the show
thank you.
for you.
Appreciate you.
Again, no problem, my man. And again, it would be great to have both you and Chad on at the same time. Maybe we'll get
I
something like
know,
that
man.
set up for down the road.
Chad's my guy, man. Like I said, we grew up together as far as in the NFL,
did.
man. And it was not easy because we had some players like Greg Lloyd and Rod, and we had guys like Kevin and Carnell Lake that we wanted just to live up to the standards they were doing.
Absolutely.
And we were playing positions that we were not familiar with at first, and it was funny. Like, I think one time me and Chad ran into each other when they did like a counter, and we ran into each other. It was like, it's Seattle. Oh yeah, Seattle. My second year, that might be the worst that we
As
both
long as it
played.
happened over there, hey, whatever.
Oh yeah, and then the thing was, we had a meeting with Bill Cowher and Marvin, man, but they knew that, man, we were guys that were really trying
Absolutely.
to do the job well, and it was just going to take us some time. But the next year, we were so much better.
And
So much
Levon,
better, yeah.
at the end of the day, that is one of the most respected four linebackers, I mean, come on, you, Chad, Greg Lloyd, and Kevin Green. If you go back at any period of time in Steeler history and you don't say that is one of the best time for linebackers, you don't know your Pittsburgh Steeler football.
No, and we didn't really play together that long.
I know.
People rave over us, and we only played together for like 3 years.
It was just a few. You're right.
Yeah.
LaVon, thank you so much, my man. Again,
thank you.
Hope you have the greatest new year. Everything goes great for you this year. Good luck at everything at Clemson. Glad to hear things are going well. I'm glad to hear that you're happy with life. And my man, that couldn't make us happier here on the show. So thank you, LaVon Kirkland. Happy New Year. Enjoy the games this week. Get that terrible towel out if you still have one. We need everything that we can get this weekend.
You got it, bro.
My man. Thank you. LaVon Kirkland, everybody. Have a great one, sir. Have a great weekend, and thank you again.
Yeah.
All right. That's LaVon Kirkland, everybody. A huge day, a big day on the Two Dumb Yinzers as we are going into the Ravens, the Steelers, the showdown Sunday night. It's on like Donkey Kong. That's right. It is on like Donkey Kong. I don't even know where I'm at. I'm so thrown off by today. It went a lot better than I was hoping that it was going to. First, we didn't think we were getting LaVon, and then we did get LaVon. Good day, guys. Let me get into a few things before we do get ready to wrap things up. It's been a couple hours. I don't want to forget more things. I do acknowledge that I didn't get to my top moments of New Year's of last year for the New Year's Eve show. I forgot we got into something the other day. I forget what it was, but I'll do that Monday when we come back. I swear to you, I'll get you the 5 best moments from this past year for the Two Dumb Yinzers. I owe it to you. I acknowledge that I wasn't able to get it out in time, but let me throw a few things at you here before we do wrap it up again. My prediction for this football game: Pittsburgh 20, Baltimore 14. I do think that the Pittsburgh Steelers win this game. I do think they advance to the playoffs. I do think that they win the AFC North. Guys, that's all coming for the Steelers. Keys to winning this game: stop Derrick Henry. Obviously, a lot of what the guys said, anything I say is not going to be as good as what they said. Take their advice. That's what the Steelers need to do to stop them. Smart football. Keep the turnovers to a minimum. Win that turnover battle. I think we win this football game, guys. I don't think that this is a great Baltimore team. This team did start 1-5. Say what you want. When we were 4-1, this team dropped when they were tied with us. Every chance they got, they did drop out. I like our chances. I think we're just a little bit better than Baltimore. Overs and unders. Overs and unders. We're going to do this quick, guys. Overs and unders. Aaron Rodgers, 1.5 touchdowns. What do you think? I say, again, he had DK last time. Over or under 1.5 touchdown passes by Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to say under. I'm going to say it's 1 passing, 1 rushing, and also 2 field goals. Is there 20 points?
I'm going to take the under.
You're taking – okay, Mike, you're here with me. Good. All right, so you're going under on that. I'm going under as well. Overs and unders are 2 running backs. They total 28 yards last time these two teams played. Mike, the running backs, Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren, 100 yards. Over or under?
I'm going to take the over.
I'm going the over this time as well. Last time we did those 2 running backs. It was, I think, 28 yards total. I say they go over 100 this time. It's going to be a different game plan. It has to be, as you don't have DK. Next one on the over and under, Mike. Pat Freiermuth, 3.5 catches. No DK Metcalf. You're going to have to put the ball in other people's hands. Pat Freiermuth, 3.5 catches. Over or under, Mike?
I'm going to take the over, and they're probably coming garbage time.
All right. Sounds good. What do we have? I'm going to go right here to this next tight ends. Mike, tight end touchdown. Any tight end. It could be Connor. It could be Pat. It could be Jonnu. 1/2 touchdown, Mike. Over or under for the tight end touchdown? 1/2.
I think it's going to be – I'm going to take an over.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think Meatwad's going to score on a tush push.
All right, we'll take a Meatwad tush push touchdown. Finally, Boswell, 2.5 field goals this game. Does he kick 2.5 field goals? Over or under?
Over, just because I want him to have a bounce back performance.
All right, over to the defensive side of the ball. Smitty, Alex Highsmith, Mike, a 1/2 sack. Does he get a 1/2 sack this week against Lamar Jackson in this Ravens offense?
If he comes out playing like he did last week, yeah, he's gonna have a monster game.
All right, super. Special teams or defense. Special teams or defense. Touchdown for the Steelers. 1/2. Over or under?
under, but I think we will need the over to hit to have a chance.
All right. Joey Porter Jr. Now, this hasn't been a problem, but it is became something on the show. Mike, Joey Porter Jr., 1.5 pass interference calls. Again, it hasn't been a problem as of late, but I'm going to throw it in there because we have been keeping it on our list. Joey Porter Jr., 1.5 pass interferences, over or under?
I'm taking the over just because this ref crew, I think they throw like the least amount. So that means they are going to be throwing flags left and right in this game.
All right. One more. And you know what it is, everybody. If you're familiar with the show, a half. Is there going to be a devastating injury? Which, again, this time of year could mean something totally different. But it's always going to be an injury to a starter or a long-term injury to any player. 1/2, Mike, 1/2 of a devastating injury this week, over or under?
Oh, I'm taking the over. I'd be stupid not to. I think this one hits more than any other of our bets, dude. Is the devastating injury. I think it's hit at least 9-10 times already.
I think so too, Mike. And what I'm going to do as well, because they were asking on the board, we're going to blow through this. It's just going to be you. I'm just only going to ask you. I'm not going to do him with Derpy. I don't know what happened to him. He was backstage for a while in the green room, and then he disappeared. But I'm going to go through these games real quick. We're going to get a just for people that are paying and keeping track for their picks for the week. Mike, let me just go down through this schedule real quick. All right. Are you there? Can you hear me?
I am here.
All right, here we go. Mike, tomorrow,
I can hear you.
2 games on Saturday. The Panthers at the Buccaneers. Who do you like?
Panthers.
All right. I took the Panthers as well. Seattle at San Francisco. Seattle at San Francisco.
Wow, that's a coin flip. Give me San Francisco at home.
All right. Those are the Saturday games. On Sunday, the Colts. I got to be honest with you. Most of these games were difficult to pick. Sunday, 1:00, Colts at Texans.
Texans. They're rolling.
Browns at Bengals.
Bengals.
Saints at Falcons.
I want to pick them, but I'm like you. I'm not going to pick them. I'm going to take the Saints because the Falcons will fuck me.
Well, they're going to fuck you anyway, whether you
I know, right?
Against them or for them. Believe me. I tried I'm like that guy on the meme that has all those lines and everything on that board, and he's pointing at him, trying to figure out what the fuck he's looking at. That's the Atlanta Falcons with me.
Their coach has a losing record overall, but he has a winning record when they've been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
All right.
I shit you not.
Next, Mike, NFC North showdown, Packers at Vikings. Who do you like?
Oh, God. Packers.
Titans at Jaguars.
Jags.
Cowboys at Giants.
The boys.
Cardinals at Rams.
Cards. Oh, no, wait. Rams. Excuse me.
Yeah, the Rams. So they're pissed too. They lost last week. Chiefs at Raiders. This might be a tough one to pick. The Chiefs at Raiders. Who would have thunk it, Mike?
Actually, no, the Raiders. No. Oh, God damn. They both like Raiders.
All right. Commanders at Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Give me the Eagles.
Dolphins at the Patriots.
Late season upset, Dolphins.
It's in New England.
I know.
Cold.
I know.
All right. Lions at the Bears.
Bears.
Chargers at the Broncos.
Damn. Chargers.
All right. Second to last game of the week, the Jets at the Bills. Sunday, 4:25. And finally, the big game, the only game that matters in the league, of course, the Ravens at the Steelers, 8:20. Mike, I need your prediction, and I need a score on this one.
I'm going to go a funky score here, 18-16.
All right. Sounds good. So you say the Ravens. So I got Pittsburgh 20-14 over the Ravens, Mike. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about the website, and then we will get to this trivia question of the day.
The2dumbyinser.com. Check it out. Got the thumb thoughts at the merch store. Check it out. The2dumbyinser.com.
Go check it out, everybody. A lot of cool stuff over at the website, www.the2dumbusers.com. That's www.the2dumbusers.com. Guys, it's time for How Well Do You Know Your Enemy? How Well Do You Know Your Opponent? Trivia question of the day. Of course, it's a Ravens question because this is Ravens week. Here, guys, heading into the big weekend. Here is the question of the day. Put on your thinking caps. Here we go. Who has the better record in Week 18 games? Pittsburgh or Baltimore? Now, I'm talking about only Week 18, which has been around for 4 seasons. One of these teams do have a better record than the other. Question of the day. Who has the better record in Week 18? Pittsburgh or Baltimore? There's been 4 of them. Guys, throw your opinions on the board. We are live. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. every day right here on the tube.
On tube.
Mike, the question of the day, Week 18 games. There's only been 4 of them so far. They just changed the 18-week seasons. So the question of the day, do the Steelers or the Ravens have the better Week 18 record at this point?
I know they beat us last. Oh, no, wait. Yeah. We lost Week 18 last year, I think. We've had to win to get in. Damn.
Tyrone's saying 4. Tyrone's saying Steelers on the board. Also, Bingo's saying the Ratbirds. The Ratbirds are on the board. There's 4. There's only been 4 of them, guys. Bingo's saying Peaches. Peaches is undefeated. Mike, who's it going to be?
I'm going to... Ravens.
Ravens?
Ravens. Final answer.
All right. With a 3-1 record, the Pittsburgh Steelers have the better Week 18 record over the past 4 years since there has been a Week 18. The Steelers 3-1, the Ravens 1-3. Guys, so there you go. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they've won 3 out of their 4 Week 18 matchups where the Ravens won 1. The Steelers is the correct answer. We went on a 5. Last year would be the one that we did get that loss. Of course, we did lose that game at the end of the season. Again, everybody, we will be back Monday and the rest of the year regardless. If we lose, win or draw, I think we're going to be here for Victory Monday. But just in case something doesn't go our way, guys, we're here all the time. So we do hope to see everybody back. Moving forward, we cover Steelers all season long. We get into the draft. We get into free agent signings. We get into all that stuff in depth right here on the show. And also Pittsburgh Pirates, Penguins, Panthers, Riveters, Riverhounds, and Passion. We do it all here, guys. So we hope, again, to see everybody moving forward. But we will be back Monday, win, lose, or draw. I think this is going to be Victory Monday. Going to be honest with you. Again, my prediction, Pittsburgh 20, the Ravens 14. Also, don't forget, if you didn't get them in yet, guys, get in and get those CBS pick'ems in before tomorrow's game, at least, because the 2 games tomorrow starts the weekend for Week 18. You don't want to miss out on any games, so be sure to get your CBS pick'ems in, as this is the last week as we're trying to take down the top dogs. The top dog RB has been up top all season for the most part. Don't want to miss any games. Be sure to get those picks in. Mike, anything, any inspirational New Year's messages you'd like to give before we do take off? Again, it's New Year. We haven't talked to you for a while. Big Steeler game. Be creative.
I was going to say big advice for everyone, especially the board. Just keep this in mind. Don't catch the clap. I think that's advice that everyone on the board needs to heed. A bunch of degens over there is what you guys are. So don't catch the clap.
Aaron Rodgers says, we'll be ready, confident that Steelers have the personnel to make whatever scheme the Ravens play. We're confident. I do think that the Steelers believe that they will win. They got to bring the right mindset to the game. Again, Jekyll, Hyde, it's all up here, guys. Whatever team, if the team that shows up for the games that we win shows up, we're going to win. If it's the opposite, hopefully that's not the case. But I do want to say a few things as we do get ready to take off. Before you do watch the game on Sunday, you might want to stop and get yourself a case of Duquesne Pilsner, guys. If any game warrants getting a buzz, it would be this one. The Steelers, Ravens, for all the marbles. Get yourself some Duquesne Pilsner. The guys over at Duquesne Pilsner go out of their way to make sure they include us in all their promotions, and we do appreciate that greatly. Stop by, get some Duquesne Pilsner made right here in Pittsburgh, and as it says on the can, grab a Duke.
Grab a Duke.
Also, guys, if you haven't had a chance, go check out any of our social media anywhere. We're pretty much everywhere. Go to Facebook, go to X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and even TikTok. Go over, just hit the follow button. Keep up with what the two dumb users are up to on a day-to-day basis. And as well, if you haven't had a chance yet today, do hit the like button down below it and hit the like, sub, share, even comment if you will. It all helps us on the algorithm. We appreciate it greatly. Thank you so much. Again, always, Mike, I can never do anything without thinking that I'm without thinking that I'm forgetting something. It happens to me everything I do in my life, and it's not any different now on the show. So I'm just going to take a look here, and I'm going to ask you to say something before we do wrap it up, and then I'm going to say my thanks, and we are going to head into this weekend, guys. It is time. This is what we've this is what it comes down to. The biggest game of the year. Most people knew it was going to happen this way, but some of us had to watch it play out to be for sure. Steelers, Ravens, Sunday, 8:20 at Pittsburgh. Guys, it doesn't get any bigger than this. Mike, last words before we do get ready to wrap it up, bro.
Stop the run, establish the run. AFC North football, Boswell. Let's kick it through the uprights this week. MVS, let's catch a ball. And we do those things, we win this game. I think it's going to be a typical Steelers-Ravens game. It's going to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like, offense is looking like shit. It's because the defenses are going to be playing well enough to contain. Because we each team knows what each team wants to do. It's just going to be who makes a play. That's really what it's going to come down to. Typical Steelers-Ravens game.
I couldn't agree more. I do want to say thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming and hanging out and checking us out today. We appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We couldn't and we wouldn't do this without you guys. Thank you so much. I do want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys were awesome. I apologize, but it was just a different kind of setup today, different format. I hope that you guys enjoyed the special guests. We do want to say thank you to Chad Brown and LaVon Kirkland, making it all happen today, heading into this big weekend, making this show big, ready to head into the weekend. So thanks to those guys. Hope everybody enjoyed them as well. I do want to say thank you, everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting here on the show, and everybody at home, whether you're in the gym, in the car, or just enjoying your holiday, maybe an extra day off, a long weekend, whatever the case may be. Thank you to guys, as I always say, the lifeblood of the show. We love you all. We couldn't do it without you guys. I do think that's everything. Make sure you have a safe weekend. If you do go hang out out of your home to watch the game, be safe. Make sure somebody gives you a lift. Whatever you got to do, stay safe. Get them terrible towels ready. Get your jerseys ready and get in that lucky seat because we're going to need it all Sunday night, guys, as the Ravens do come to town. Armac is saying 34-25 Steelers on the board. Some different answers on the board. All show again. Mine is 20-14 Pittsburgh. I think we win this one. And again, I'm all for being here Monday and getting ready for this victory Monday. And I do think that will happen. So again, guys, we will see everybody at our regular time Monday. Enjoy the game. Do what you got to do to bring us this win. Tyrone, my man, he's saying 27-23. I think the last one finished 28-23, maybe something. So I could very well see it playing out in the same way. I don't know. It's going to be really cold. Armac. I do know that it's been about 11 degrees and it's been in the teens all week. So whatever the case may be, it is going to be cold. But besides that, guys, I do want to say thank you one more time. We'll be back at our regular time Monday again, hopefully to get this Victory Monday started. If we do, I got some special stuff planned for next week as well. So let's keep our fingers crossed, guys, and get this big win for the black and gold this weekend and send them shitbirds crying back to Maryland, guys, for by all means. Mike, is that it for you?
That is it for me. Hopefully we're back here for Victory Monday.
I think we will. We're going to be here regardless, but Victory Monday, we'll see. I think it's going to happen. For Derpy, who was here in theory, Finch, who was also here earlier, Mike, the Ghost of Myron Cope stopped in briefly for the show. It was nice seeing him. Also, of course, especially Chad Brown and LaVon Kirkland. Great seeing those guys. We'll have them back at some point. But you guys, I hope everybody has a safe weekend. Again, bring this team victory. Whatever you got to do. If you got to sit in the one spot, that makes you uncomfortable for 3 hours, by all means, find it and get there, because this is a big game, guys. This will move us on to the next round, if you will, in the playoffs, as this is basically a playoff game. Guys, thank you so much again. Armac, Aliquippa, baby, that's right. That's right. Your family was from Aliquippa. I do remember you saying that. Guys, thank you so much. I hope everybody has a great, safe weekend. Enjoy your game. Enjoy our game Sunday night. Again, we'll be back Monday morning to get into that and so much more. So we hope to see everybody then. For everybody here at the show, Finch, Derpy, Mike, myself, the Two Dumb Yinzers, have a great one. Here we go, Steelers. We'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.